Well, good afternoon, happy Sunday, welcome along to King Power Stadium with me, Dan Bates. Frank Sinclair and Jerry Taggart are stood alongside me here for Leicester's last pre-season game of the summer before a week today they kick off their championship campaign against Sheffield Wednesday. Today though is a bit of a culture difference because it's Italian Serie A side Fiorentina who are welcomed to Filbert Way. We'll talk about the opponents in just a moment, we'll talk about Leicester's team in just a moment, but let's say hello to the both of you. I feel like we've spoken a bit, Jerry, but I've not actually seen you pretty much all summer. Have you had a nice one?
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty relaxed. Enjoyed a bit of time at home, which is a rarity for me actually. Seen the family back in Northern Ireland as well. So yeah, it's been a good summer, good restful summer.
Nice. And Frank, it's always a pleasure to have you on with us. How's your summer been?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, as you know, I'm at Burnley now and preparing for the Premier League with Scott Parker's obviously coming up from the Championship and having a really good season, and something that, you know, Leicester will look at and want to do the same, bounce back straight to the Premier League. So it'd be interesting to see how they tackle this Championship because it is a real tough league. I saw a lot of games last season and it's relentless. The fixtures are relentless.
Obviously, we know, well, Burnley will be, a week behind Leicester, obviously, with the Premier League starting in 2 weeks, as opposed to Leicester, obviously, starting in a week. But do you see now, is this the time of pre-season where you're a week away, where players are pretty much there and ready to go?
Yeah, this is the best part. I mean, your aim, when you start pre-season, your aim is try not to get injured, try not miss a day, and then you'll be as fit as, you know, your manager wants you to be when come the first game of the season. So, you know, a lot of the players would have been looking at this game saying, I need to be in this team to make sure I start next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be the right end of it now. I'm not sure how many players have had, you know, 90-minute games, but they've probably broken the 90 minutes into the fixtures. And I'd be surprised if quite a few of them don't play 90 minutes today to prepare for next week.
Yeah, it's a good point Frank makes there, Dan, because this is final preparation for the big kick-off next week. So you're looking at the lineup today, and you would say that between 70 and 80% of that team that are starting the game today would be in the manager's thoughts for starting next week. Yes, you look at the subs bench, and there's one or two players that may change and may not change. But if you're thinking of starting next week and playing, and you're in the manager's thoughts saying you want to be starting today.
Well, let's take a look then at that starting 11 today that Marti Cifuentes has picked for his first home game in charge of Leicester City. Madison Manson is in goal. It's a back four with Chowdhury. We've seen him in that right back position, obviously, throughout pre-season. He also played there for Sheffield United in the Championship last season. He might obviously step into midfield every now and then, but predominantly he will be at right back. It's Okoli and Vestergaard, the two central defenders, and Luke Thomas at left back. Samare and Skip are the two holding midfielders, with Bilal El Khanous, the central man. Fatawu and Mavididi are either side of Jordan Ayew. On the bench, it's Begovic, Stolasic, Fass, Ndidi, Winks, Daka, Koulibaly, Nelson, Makatia, Aluko, Page, Monga, Alves. So it's an exciting bench. Harry Winks on there as well. So in terms of both the starting 11 and the bench, there's an awful lot of quality in there, Jerry. Firstly, what strikes you about the starting 11?
Well, I mean, if you're going on what we've seen over pre-season, then it's more about who's on the bench, and I'm looking straight to the bottom and saying Jeremy Monga. He's been one of the outstanding players for me through pre-season. So is that an experience thing? Who knows? But obviously, and then Yannick Vestergaard coming straight back in as well. Haven't really seen a lot of him throughout pre-season, personally that is. So seeing him coming back, and then the other big one, of course, is Abdul Fattah starting. You know, the fans will be absolutely over the moon about that, as much as I am. You know, he's been a real asset to this club and a real big miss when he was out last season. So that's a real plus for the football club.
Yeah, just speaking on Abdul Fattah, Frank, he came back in, played a few minutes in those pre-season friendlies over in Austria and Hungary. It was fantastic to see that. There were only snippets of it, whereas today he's in the starting 11. So again, that is so exciting to see. And I think when his name is read out here, the fans obviously love him.
Yeah, well, I've noticed Tags' spoken very highly of this player, you know, previously about him last season and how much he was missed with his injuries and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I've not seen as much of him with the few games that I did see last season, him not being involved in them. So I'm really excited to see what he brings, you know, what he brings to the table. But this is, you know, you look at 22, 23 players there. It's a really strong squad for the championship. So I know the window's still open. Will the manager go and sign some more players apart from obviously Begovic that he has brought into the squad at the moment? It'd be interesting to see, because obviously unless the players is a real good fit for how the manager's principles of play are, then you want to bring your own players in at some point. You know, the window won't be open for that too much longer. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with the group that he's inherited. Yeah,
I mean, you know, you mentioned the quality and the depth. It's probably too much in reality, because you cannot keep. There's 13 subs on the bench today. All right, 2 of them are keepers, but you cannot keep everybody happy.
He would want 2 players for each position, though, especially with the championship, because the games are relentless. Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, the Friday night games. So the games are relentless. So I think you do need a big squad for the championship.
No, I understand that, and you're totally right. But trying to keep your experienced players. So let's take, for instance, Harry Winks, who's on the bench today. Harry Winks will be expected to start every week, and obviously he's got a player, and you could say Oliver Skip is like a direct replacement, a similar type of player to Harry Winks. Whereas you've got young Lewis Page, who's coming through, making a name for himself. Maybe he's the type of player that you want to try and blood, give a little bit more game time to see how he develops. So it's going to be interesting to see how the manager manages expectations.
That's healthy for the football club, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
To have competition for places. If you're not at it, you know, you're looking over your shoulder, and you know someone on the bench is after your shirt. So that is healthy.
Yeah, I guess there's a fine line, isn't there, between that being where it maybe becomes a problem, or actually it's really good because you get that healthy competition. And you look around, these are the players on the bench literally just behind us, 5 or 6 feet from us, and there's so much quality there, Jerry, isn't there? There's proven Premier League quality in there, let alone Championship.
And this hopefully will, if the manager can find that balance, which will be no mean feat, believe you me, but if he can find that balance, then, you know, things are looking good. You've got to think things are looking positive for Leicester in the Championship this season. But as Frank said, it's a long, hard slog. A lot of these players went through it the last time round. Some players haven't seen it before, haven't been through it, but they will soon enough be aware of how much time and effort go into the games and preparation, how little time you spend on the training pitch.
Quick turnaround,
what a slog.
Because of that Saturday, Tuesday.
What a slog. And then you've got the cup games as well mixed in between. It's a proper slog, and you've got to be mentally prepared for that, more than physical.
Let's take a look back then at Leicester City's pre-season so far. It's been a pretty good one. Only 1 defeat coming in that last game against Cologne, but there's been plenty of goals scored along the way.
Nicely done by Monga, and on he goes. Aluko, Page. Leicester are up and running for pre-season, and it's the young guns who have got them going. Louis Page sweeps into the net after excellent work from Monga and Alves and others. The Foxes lead by 1-0. Silko Thomas has gone over. Louis Page is scoring again. Well, Leicester have found their way back in front, and it's through the same young man, Louis Page. Well, there was a nasty challenge on Silko Thomas. The referee decided to play advantage. It was the right decision. Build-up continued on the right-hand side, and it was squared for Louis Page, who just opened his body and steered it into the corner. Opportunity maybe for Silko Thomas. One-on-one with Mendonça. Silko Thomas, that's a beauty. What a finish on his left foot. And that should wrap up the result for Leicester here in pre-season. Well, he didn't score a single goal on loan against League One opposition last season when at Wigan, but maybe he's been saving them all up, because that was a stunner.
Monga always a threat, and it's a ball, it's an own goal. Bizzed in from Monga and it came off. Akimoto close to his goal, couldn't react quick enough to make a clearance. Big assist from Jeremy Monga and Leicester City lead.
Yeah, again, Jeremy Monga, that's when he's at his best for me.
Jordan Ayew will try and land this on the head of one of the Leicester players. It's whipped towards goal, it's got in! From the corner, wind assisted, but still spectacular. A very composed celebration for a very impressive goal that's given Leicester the lead once more.
He's in and around the ball now, but it's Justin who comes out to Ayew. Chance for Leicester. Jordan Ayew cuts inside, dances past three, shoots and scores. Second goal of pre-season now for Jordan Ayew. And Leicester take the lead in Hungary. A nice, clever move on this left-hand side from the Foxes. Mavididi was involved, Justin was involved, and almost Jordan Ayew there with the ball just decided, I'm taking matters into my own hands. That Alves' tricky feet. Swings a really good ball in, Evans goes for it, and a penalty has been given from the spot. Scores. It just creeps under the goalkeeper. Daka gets his first then of pre-season. Leicester get their equaliser. That will do his confidence the world of good, Owen, and Leicester right back in this game now. Well played, Bilal El Khanous. Slips it in now for Patson. Daka on his left foot, fantastic, gets his second of the game. Well, it just shows you what confidence of a goal can do. He slid the penalty under the goalkeeper at the start of this second half. Fantastic play there from Bilal El Khanous. There's a smile from manager Marti Cifuentes and a smile from Patson Daka as well, who've done ever so well with his left-footed finish beyond the goalkeeper. Leicester take the lead. He does get on to the loose ball, lays it back for Louis Page, shot blocked. Casey McAteer, what a finish from the young man. Casey McAteer, terrific strike. Page was the one who first had a nibble at it. It then landed at the feet of the man who scored his first King Power Stadium goal in that game with Ipswich right at the end of last season, and hopefully his little run of scoring can continue then. Good finish from the number 35. Yeah, it's always great to see goals in pre-season, of course, and I guess, Jerry, we haven't been able to see too much yet of Marti Cifuentes. Obviously came in literally just before that trip to Austria, so we've seen technically 3 games, the one out in Hungary and then the 2 in the same day. How excited are you in general by his appointment and by him in as a manager and what you've seen already in these first few weeks?
I mean, he's got a proven track record, and on last season with QPR, I mean, he dragged them out of the doldrums, really, and done a great job, a fantastic job to get them mid-table or the higher echelons of the championship. So, you know, you got to give him respect for that. The issue again is he hasn't, because you've just mentioned, he hasn't been in the job that long, and so he's probably had to be working overtime to try and get his messages across to the players on how he wants to play, how he wants to set up. And today will be a perfect case in point to analyse that, to pick through that when we see this game get underway. Normally, when you're appointing a manager, until as soon as the season finishes or not long after that, and then he has the whole of pre-season to work with. Obviously the other issue is, at the moment, he's not been able to bring any, as Frank mentioned earlier, any of his own players in, any players that he think might suit his system better than the players that he's got in the squad here. And so that then can become an issue, trying to change a player's mentality and work ethic into doing something different. I'm not saying it's impossible, but sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. For the player, he plays a certain style of football and is excellent and excels at a certain style of football, to then play a slightly different way. And so those are the kinds of issues that he'll have trying to implement his style.
Yeah, I mean, since he's come in as well, Cifuentes, he's had that time away. I guess that probably helped him. The group was away, and as Jerry says, he could work overtime and he could sit the players down at whatever time it was and have the meetings and try and implement that, because you've both been involved. You obviously still are in a coaching capacity. Jerry, you have been as well. That when you're in that, Does it take a time for a new manager that comes in or a new set of coaching staff to come in to get across that message?
Yeah, I think the pre-season break and pre-season, the time that you have with the players is priceless, because you go away and you don't only know about the footballer, but you get an opportunity to know the person as well. So that time away, whether they go away for a week, Spain, wherever it might be, Portugal, and they're in each other's pockets day in, day out. Plus the training sessions can be that more intense. You know, you don't have to pack everything into a day for the boys to turn up, go home, and you got them. They're with you all the time, 24/7. And he would have learnt so much about his players individually, as you know, their characteristics as well. He would have come away from that with a lot more idea about who's going to be in and around his team, who's not going to be as well. But you know, the modern day footballer, they're very professional in everything they do, the way they prepare. We were. But, you know, there's a lot more to it now. With the preparation, with the data that comes with it, with the strength and conditioning. It's all gone to a whole new level now. And when you're away and you get that opportunity to be together all the time, it's priceless for the manager.
And I think Andy King touched on it a couple of weeks ago about getting to know your players. As a manager, as a coaching staff, how important that is. You know, when you're looking at the players, or you're seeing how they're reacting to certain messages, or even on the training pitch, or even in the canteen or the games room, the manager gets to know the individual psyche of each player a little bit better. Who he can trust. Can I trust him on a football pitch? If I can't trust him to turn up on time for his dinner or for his gym work. And these are all these little messages you get when you're away together in each other's pockets for that period of time.
From what you've heard from Marti Cifuentes, Jerry, whenever we've spoken to him, he speaks really well, and he does feel, I think, supporters, you see from the reactions in the comments, they're happy and they like hearing from him, because what he has to say is exciting. Yeah, it's exciting, it's positive, and that's what this place needs, a little bit of it at this moment in time. It needs a little bit of positivity around it. And that's why you need a figurehead at the spearhead of the club to be giving those positive messages. So again, it's good work from him. Yeah, well, we're playing an Italian side, of course, this afternoon in Fiorentina. They were in the upper echelons of Serie A last season. They'll provide a really good test today. What better player to speak to then than the Italian in our squad? Caleb Okoli is in the starting 11 today. We caught up with him about an hour ago to preview this final pre-season game of the summer. Caleb, final pre-season test of the summer. How are you feeling ahead of this? We're now 1 week away from the start of the championship season. Yeah, very, very good. Now is the last and final test before the start of the season, and will be a very, very good test to see where we are. Is this where you're now really starting to feel like you're pretty much there? You're at the peak of your fitness? Yes, of course. Now is already a few weeks now. Been in the pre-season, so we are getting there. Are you at the stage now where it's just real excitement? You just want to get going now? You want the season to begin? Yeah, we all want to start and see all our fans in the first game in the season. So we can't wait to start. And it's obviously going to be a good test as well today against Fiorentina. We've seen the progression, I guess, in terms of opposition week from week throughout pre-season. Now we're seeing a Serie A side, a very, very good Fiorentina side. So what are you expecting from them? Yeah, they just changed manager, and I know a few of the players of Fiorentina, so I know also that they are a good team. So it will be a very, very good test for us to see where we are at and see the things that we need to improve. Have you got memories of playing against them previously? Yeah, I play against them in the last few years that I play in the Serie A, so yeah, it will be a very good game. Have you been given any of the lads tips and pointers about the players then? Yeah, I will give to my player, to my teammates some tips for sure. And just finally, yes, the final chance to, and the first time really, in front of supporters during this pre-season here at King Power Stadium. So a nice final chance for you ahead of that big game next week. Yes, it's very important now and very good feeling now to be
back at the King Power Stadium and to see our fans and getting ready for the start of the season. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Caleb. Good luck today. Cheers, mate. Well, that was Caleb Okoli there, speaking ahead of today's friendly with Fiorentina. We are, though, a week away. Literally, this time next week, pretty much, we will be building up to Leicester's first Championship game of the season. You can catch up with us on Matchday Live from 4. Obviously, join us on Fox's Hub for that. If you want to follow the Foxes live this season, then you won't miss a moment with Fox's Hub. There are early bird packages available now with international seasonal video and seasonal listen live passes also available for you as well. So you will literally not miss a kick with us this season on Fox's Hub. So for any more information that you need on that, all you need to do is head onto the website and onto Fox's Hub as well. Yeah, so we're a week out now, Frank, and as we've said, and we know today's opposition, as we just heard from Caleb Okoli there, very good Italian side, as we've built up, I guess, the standard and the level of opposition, and I think that's what teams do, isn't it, in pre-season? You always try and end with a real test, and that's what we're going to see today, I think, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it will be anything like next Saturday, you know, first Championship game of the season. You'd expect, you know, Fiorentina to be very good in possession, you know, high possession-based team. So Leicester might spend a bit of time out of possession, which is brilliant for working on setting your traps, your high press, and basically the turnover of the ball, what you do with it when you win it back as well. So there'll be lots to learn and lots to gain from this game for the manager. You know, Marty will be looking at, you know, different ways of penetrating Fiorentina's defence today as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
That's the main bit I'm looking forward to today, is in transition what the Leicester do when they win the ball back. You know, you're up against the top European side here. They'll try and keep the ball as much as can, try and work their way through the thirds. What the Leicester do when they win it back, how do they get the ball forward? We've seen in a couple of pre-season games that he likes to get the ball forward earlier than some of the previous managers that have been in charge here. So I like to see that, you know, really coming into action today at home in the King Power pitch.
Yeah, when you look at QPR, you know, his previous side, very attack-minded in wide areas, likes to get the ball out to his wingers and get them 1v1 attacking duels. So, you know, if he can bring that, look at how many good wingers are in this squad altogether.
Probably the strongest part of the pitch for Leicester is in the wide areas.
In the wide areas,
so
attacking.
Expect to see them get a lot of the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
The likes of Mavididi, Fatawu starting, but then you look at the bench and you've obviously got Casey McAteer scored his first home Premier League goal, didn't he, towards the end of last season. The likes of Will Alves, Jeremy Monga, these are exciting players and exciting
young
additions.
And they're all hungry. These young lads especially, that you see on the bench, they're all hungry to succeed. And so that's what's given everybody a lift. You know, with the moments that we've seen Jeremy at the back end of last season and what we've seen in pre-season, and the same with Will Alves as well, you know. I mean, and we know what Casey McAteer's capable of anyway.
Yeah.
But they're all hungry and willing to work hard for the team. They all want success. So that gives everyone a little bit of hope as well.
One thing we've heard Marty say quite a lot in his interviews, Frank, is that he says they like to have the ball, they like to do, you know, he grew up watching Barcelona play, that's what he likes, but actually it's not just having the ball for the sake of having the ball. They're like, right, let's do something with it, let's attack.
Yeah, you know, you'll look at the stats in teams that do very well in most leagues. The teams that are up there in the top 3 or 4 are generally the teams that are really good out of possession. They don't have the possession stats that win your games. So it's not having the ball that wins your games, like, you know, Jerry touched on before, it's what you do with it. I'll be really interested to see the roles of our 2 fullbacks today as well. You know, Luke Thomas, I think he certainly won't have to defend as much as he did in the Premier League last season, and I know he's more attacking minded as well. So he'll be looking to get wide and gallop down the left-hand side and put quality crosses in with his excellent left foot as well. And we touched on with Chowdhury as well. Will he be rolling into that pivot position at times to make that extra man in midfield, or will he give the team width high and wide? And you know, both of them have got a lot of energy, and yeah, they'll be really important to this this obviously this championship, attack on winning it and trying to get straight back into the Premier League.
Yeah, well, it all kind of starts today, doesn't it? It officially starts a week today against Sheffield Wednesday. Today, though, is the final pre-season game of the summer for the Foxes. Serie A side Fiorentina are today's opposition for Marti Cifuentes' first game in charge of the Foxes here at home. We've got the full 90 minutes coming up next.
Stadium, please welcome Fiorentina and your Leicester City.
So 1 week until the big kickoff, and Leicester's pre-season schedule comes to an end here against Italian giants Fiorentina at King Power Stadium. The championship opener against Sheffield Wednesday fast approaching, a big 90 minutes ahead as Marti Cifuentes takes charge of the Foxes at home for the very first time. Bright skies now after heavy rain earlier on Filbert Way, and a good crowd in for this final test of pre-season. Well, Marti Cifuentes told his players to go all in today to secure their starting spots for the first league game of the new campaign. This, the starting 11. It includes Mads Hermansson for the first time since the end of April. Hamza Chowdhury captains the team once more. Caleb Akoli and Yannick Vestergaard are the centre-backs. A huge boost further forward to see Abdul Fatawi back at King Power for his first appearance since October after that serious injury. Bilal El Khanous and Steffi Mavididi make up the three behind Jordan Ayew, who's been on goal-scoring form this pre-season. New signing Asmir Begovic on the bench after his arrival, and so too the likes of Ben Nelson, Will Alves and Jeremy Mionga. Fiorentina are still 3 weeks away from their first game in Serie A. Like Leicester, they have a new coach this season, Stefano Pioli, back for a second spell in charge of Iviola. New signing Edin Dzeko's on the bench today, as are David De Gea and last season's top scorer Moises Kean. Pablo Mari captains Fiorentina. Lucas Beltran starts up front, despite the fact the Argentine has been heavily linked with a move to Flamengo this summer. Well, Marti Cifuentes' name just read out. Excellent crowd in. Matt Elliott alongside myself, Chris Parrott. Always an important day, Matt. Yes, it's pre-season, but in 7 days' time, the real business starts right here against Sheffield Wednesday. What do you want to see, and what do you think Marti Cifuentes wants to see over the next couple of hours?
Well, if you're looking for many aspects of the game, I think, from his team, and up to now it's been difficult to see what is majorly different that he's trying to implement, but there are little tweaks here and there. But I want to see some cohesion within the team. The guys there talking about the transition, working off the ball, but also in possession as well. It's got to be an all-round comprehensive performance that he's looking and aspiring to. And to see that he can have effects on the players at his charge.
Hamza Chowdhury, the skipper. Super noise, the sun is shining, the pitch looks perfect. A step up in terms of the quality of opposition today. Can Leicester finish pre-season on a high as they get the ball rolling? Luke Thomas with an early touch back to Yannick Vestergaard. Marti Cifuentes been here as an opposition manager, talked in the build-up about the excitement of being here as Leicester coach today.
And immediately Yannick Vestergaard looks for Abdul Fatawu. And when he gets on the ball today for the first time, Matt, there's going to be that buzz of excitement. How Leicester have missed him for the last, what, 9 or 10 months.
Yeah, he just gives everyone a boost, doesn't he? Both teammates and supporters alike there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that first touch, Vestergaard over hitting the diagonal, but I don't mind seeing that. That's something that doesn't happen too often. Vestergaard is capable of it, and it shows a bit of early variation.
Here is Steffi Mavididi plucking that one out of the sky beautifully. And the front four today has a lot of excitement when the team news was out. And for some of the changes that have happened already and may happen before the transfer window shuts, this Leicester 11 today, full of quality, including this man, Mads Hermansen. Great to see him back after that groin surgery that he had. Jakub Stelacic and new signing Asmir Begovic amongst the substitutes today. And here is Bilal El Khanous. Fiorentina have barely had a touch in the opening 90 seconds. We've heard a lot from Marti Cifuentes about having the ball, but what he wants his team to do with it as well. And they are certainly setting the agenda, setting the tempo. It's a lovely pass out to Hamza Chowdhury. And here is Fatawu. Gorgeous ball. El Khanous shoots over the bar. But a very bright start from Leicester City this afternoon.
Yeah, extremely positive and very precise as well. Slick with their passing, no dallying on the ball, and quite good tempo for the start of a pre-season game. Fiorentina may well change as the game progresses, but initially setting their stall out with literally a flat back five, which is lending the onus to Leicester to pop the ball around. But there was good movement and good linking up there. Ended with the strike from Khanous, couldn't keep it down, but early signs very good.
There is Tommaso Martinelli. We're not exactly sure what Fiorentina will do today. They're significantly behind Leicester. They don't start Serie A for 3 weeks, so whether we might see two completely changed 11s from them today. And Leicester, you would think, will be looking for maybe even 90 minutes in certain players' legs with this the final game. And Leicester are showing a bit of that early zip. Fatawu wins a corner, and it has been a really good start. Interesting to see all the Leicester players giving each other applause as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of hesitancy, and they don't look particularly focused as a entire team in these early stages. Fiorentina, I think Leicester sort of realising that and attempting to go for the throat even at this early stage.
Jordan Ayew over this first set piece. The likes of Yannick Vestergaard fought. Hamza Chowdhury was there, and it's flicked goals and just wide by Bouba Soumaré, I think. Took a deflection. It's another corner, and Leicester could easily be 1-0 up already.
Yeah. Well, again, Leicester, not for the first time, showing more purpose, more endeavour. Hamza Chowdhury gets across at the near post. It's a little flick, I think, and then it rebounds, and Soumaré, unfortunate not to hit the target.
El Khanous stands one up. Chowdhury was the target. In the end, Pablo Mari, who has Premier League experience, of course, former Arsenal, Manchester City player, helps Fiorentina clear, and it's been very encouraging thus far. This was the chance, Matt. How close was it from Soumaré?
Yeah, say Hamza Chowdhury gets across, doesn't he? There's a bit of a ricochet around, falls to Soumaré, tries to turn, stroke, swivel, gets an effort off, but just hits the defender and clips away for a corner. But the goalkeeper was worried. It wasn't a powerful effort, but you know, a foot the other way, that creeps in the bottom corner.
El Khanous. Again, Mads Hermansen almost up to halfway there. We know how good with his feet he is, but he really is sweeper keeper today. Fatawu leading the charge once more. Surely had his shirt pulled. I would suggest next Sunday that might be a free kick, but a bit of leniency from the officials, as you can see. Abdul Fatawu making the point.
That'll go well in the club shot, that off the shoulder look, won't it? But I mean, there's the evidence for Taru's saying, but to be honest, technically that is a foul because he's grappling at the shirt, but I don't think it stopped Fataru getting to the ball before it went out for the goal kick.
Well, we have seen next to nothing from the Serie A team thus far. Stefano Pioli back in charge for a second spell. They finished in the European places last season. They reached the semi-final of the Conference League. And now they have won the ball high up the pitch. First attack, and Kelly Bacoli was there to save the day because Lucas Beltran was eyeing up Mads Hermansen in the Leicester goal.
You noticed a sudden change there in Fiorentina's approach. Rather than being very passive and sitting in that straight back five, one of the centre-halves pushed in, both the wing backs pushed in, and all of a sudden they were more advanced and pressurised up against Leicester's blue shirts. And Vestergaard, just for the first time in this game, just a little bit loose, a little bit sloppy, didn't make his decision early and then forced a pass, and Coley saved the day. But perhaps there's a little bit of change of emphasis from the away team, because up to now they look to me as if they're coming not to get beaten too heavily. Now I'm sure they've got more about them than that, and we'll see things change as we go along.
Oh, Hermansen there. Well, that maybe was a bit of rustiness, because Fiorentina there almost gifted a chance. This is the first of 3 games in England for Fiorentina, by the way. They play Forest and then Manchester United. And as I mentioned, they are a couple of weeks behind Leicester. And they are showing their quality now. And Hermansen has to keep that one out.
Yeah, there's a couple of times now Leicester have been caught in deep defensive positions. Vestergaard at first, and then Hermansen. Have noticed there is an energy, and it has been from the start, for the front two for Fiorentina. They're buzzing and chasing around, but they didn't have much support from those behind them up until the last minute or two. But yeah, all of a sudden there's a change in tempo, isn't it? It doesn't look quite as comfortable for Leicester as it did.
Which I'm sure the supporters, and in particular the coaching staff, won't mind. Leicester will want this to be a difficult test, with the Championship season starting, as we know, a week today, and once it starts it doesn't really stop. 46 games, you might need 90 points to go up. It is relentless, as we know.
That's the word, isn't it? That's the word, because everyone applies it, and it's there for a reason. You've got to be durable, you've got to have a sizable squad, which Leicester, certainly at this moment in time, do, despite some despondency after last season. There's a few things up in the air at the moment. We have players going, our players coming in. We have to wait and see how that transpires. But you look at that team sheet today, that's not a bad outfit for a Championship side. Well, 1 or 2 bits of tinkering here and there, maybe. And in my mind, if things are done correctly, Leicester has surely got to be one of the guys pushing for that promotion spot, certainly playoffs.
You look at those not in the 11 today: Fass and Didi, Winks, Daka, in terms of real experience, and then McAteer, who has had a good pre-season, saw what he was capable of last season and the year before, and Marti Cifuentes certainly has options as well as the youngsters. But great to see him on the edge of his technical area in the sunshine at King Power Stadium. He's made a really good impact with his words and the performances in pre-season, but he will love being there in his new home, and he will have enjoyed what he's seen in the opening 10 minutes. Still 0-0, but plenty of purpose. And now Fiorentina having a spell on the ball, and Leicester in their defensive shape. As Alessandro Bianco fires it back to his captain, Abdelhaid Sabiri. Good pressure from Leicester, goes out of play. Stefano Pioli, who was in charge of Al Nassr last year and Cristiano Ronaldo back in Florence, and as you can see, for him, he took charge of Fiorentina just a couple of days before Marti Cifuentes, so both teams today clearly in the very early stages, Matt, of playing under a new coach, even if it's Pioli's second spell at the club.
Yeah, exactly. Probably less games in Pioli's case, isn't it? He's been able to have an influence, and to be honest, I don't know whether I'm just imagining it or not, but I think you saw evidence of that early on, because they seemed a bit unsure of themselves. He came to the forward area of his technical, as the ball goes in, technical area, and it's as if he's barked a few orders and woken them up a bit, because all of a sudden they're back three with two advanced wing backs, and that's pushed the rest of the team forward. It's much more of a contest now. It was very sedate defending from them initially, but yeah, Leicester have been asked a few questions as they were there. Okoli doing well to get his body across, shepherding the ball out for a goal kick.
Excellent crowd in. Summer months go slowly without football. They will have enjoyed making their walk and drive to Filbert Way today. The new season always brings new anticipation, new hope, new fear sometimes.
Yeah, to be fair, turning up at the ground, the stadium today, I was surprised about the swell of numbers in and around outside the stadium. Inside, it's not as full as I thought it may be when you saw the numbers milling around on the edges, but yeah, no, vibrant atmosphere. It's a lovely sunny day. Everyone loves the beckoning of the start of the new season, don't they, whatever the situation, and there's more positivity around here than people might expect.
And how Marti Cifuentes would like to add a win just to further that before the next week of preparation. And El Canous again, it's picked up the ball in lots of deep lying positions today. Seems to have that role very much as the playmaker, looking to make things tick. Now Mads Hermansen. It'd be big for him to play the week before the season opener. Same for Steffi Mavididi, the same for Abdul Fatawu. Coley under pressure from Beltran. Whose touch was very nice. Luke Thomas there in that inverted midfield position. Coley has continued his run. Here is Ayew striding forward. Now Mavididi. Free kick given, and that was the best we've seen from Leicester for 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, very intricate, wasn't it? It was, I hesitate to say, but it's Maresca-like formation, wasn't it? They're popping it around at the back. Hermansen made a great decision, because I think it was Canous initially that was being followed in. That was the obvious pass. He clipped it over, which is something Leicester did first time round back in the Championship. Off the front man, Thomas comes in, as you say, inverted fullback, picks it up, and Leicester are off and running. Only thing I'm not a fan of there was Canous ended up forward, cuts inside and right, could have delivered the cross, tries to play the ball on the underlap, when Mavididi is running out of space. That's what we've done 30 yards away from goal. But I know it's something Maresca really likes. Cifuentes similarly seems to as well. So no argument from me, I suppose.
El Canous back to Thomas, and the whistle had gone for a foul in the box, but that was inventive from a set piece. Fiorentina want to take it quickly. They're not going to be allowed to do so, but that was not orthodox, and it almost worked. Well, put it this way, they got the shot away, and some of the clever tactical blocking was picked up by the official.
Yeah, I think there's probably a bit of dramatisation from the Fiorentina player that went down there, but it wasn't groundbreakingly new, but it was inventive. Yeah, nice to see an attempt at creativity from those situations, which you haven't seen too often from Leicester in recent times.
Andrew Hughes, of course, second season now in terms of the set-piece options. Could play a big part in the Championship, where Leicester will need to score lots of goals and win lots of matches. There to make it a one-season stay again. Ayew leading the charge as the centre forward. Patson Daka amongst the substitutes today. Chowdhury coming back quickly. Something that you mentioned, Matt, about that little clip pass from Mads Hermansen. We saw Marty Cifuentes bring his goalkeeper over, and they were having a discussion as Fatawu, it looked like he may have been fouled again, but it's going to be another corner. Again, he looks to the officials. Hamza Chowdhury has a word.
He's getting frustrated for Fatawu. It's nearly but not quite with him on a number of occasions, isn't it? Again, a bit of shirt pulling. Just about gets away with it, but I would say if that happens again, Fatawu's complaints, and he's right to do that, will probably have an effect, and I think the officials will say, do you know what, he's got a point there, enough's enough. So he's got to be persistent with it.
Ayew delivers just above Okoli. Bianco didn't have too much moving forward. Here is Jacopo Fazzini. Work rate was good for Leicester. It's a decent ball, and Hermansen, very, very good goalkeeping. It would have been close to being offside, but the flag stayed down, and that was fine work from Leicester's Danish stopper.
Yeah, that was unbelievable positioning there. In days of old, you'd be looking at your goalkeeper, and most of them were slightly loopy, but you'd think they'd lost the plot if they were in that position. But Hermansen's judgment there, his positioning initially, and then the reaction to come, well, not off his line, come right out of his penalty box, saved the day, really, because Okoli was outstretched there, ain't of offside, like you say. I think if VAR was in play, it possibly would have given it. The linesman, I'm not so sure, would have flagged off his own back, but yeah, that's that is one area where the game has drastically changed, isn't it?
And Hermansen, one of the best proponents of that. Great to see him back. Chowdhury, clever header to release Skip, and now Fatawu. Pretty even opening 18 minutes though. The final pre-season test live on Fox's Hub. Sun is out, absolutely poured with rain about an hour ago, so the surface should be slick. And Mavididi, well, I'll tell you what, Martinelli did well. For a second there, you wonder whether Mavididi might get there first, and then the keeper would have been in a very compromised position.
Yeah, well, what Mavididi did show there, he's got the mark of his opponent there, because he shouldn't have, but he eventually outpaced him, got behind. Martinelli saved the day, not quite as impressively as Mads Hermansen, but equally effective ultimately.
Soumare back to Okoli, who played a couple of times against Fiorentina in his Serie A days. Now Ayew. Luke Thomas again stepping forward. Mavididi, chance to run at Fortini here. It's El Canouse, who almost then dropped into Luke Thomas's position with Thomas central. Fiorentina are good enough to stop that Leicester attack, but if we're looking for patterns of play again today, that one is certainly of interest, where Luke Thomas is playing and what spaces he's occupying.
It seems to suit him as well, doesn't it? It's not something we've seen him do too often, if at all, previously, but yeah, coming in off that left back position into the left hand side of midfield gives him more freedom, more options really, and more involvement, and he looks very comfortable in the role. And I remember when he first broke through into first team reckoning, he advanced more than he has done subsequently. He was whipping crosses in, and I thought, hello, you know, we've got a real attacking force here from a deep position. He's more reserved, I would say, over recent years, but perhaps Cifuentes can unleash him a little bit more. He looks happy to do so.
Throw in for Hamza Chowdhury, and of course 2 seasons ago it was the right back Ricardo who moved into midfield. Here is Luke Thomas.
I think that's a good spot, or a good decision by the manager there, because of the two, Luke Thomas is probably more composed on the ball and more comfortable with the ball at his feet in advanced areas, albeit ordinarily that's a little bit wider, but he looks to be thriving on the role. Hamza would sort of slot in to the midfield and become one of the two as a base and release other players, but Luke Thomas can release himself.
Oh, takes the free kick short. El Khanous winds one up. And Fiorentina again just about launch it forward and out of play. Almost to the midway point of this first half, and you can see the applause from Marti Cifuentes. Talked a lot about how he wants the Foxes to be on the front foot. Possession but with a purpose. And certainly Abdul Fatawu fits into that. Brilliant skill. Clearly fouled on that occasion by Fabiano Parisi, who does pick up a yellow card. It was sparkling from Abdul Fatawu. Too good for the Fiorentina defender.
Well, third time unlucky. Parisi there is a little overdue, I think. And I think he even shook the hands of the referee saying, "Thank you, ref, for taking this long to book me," really. But you only get away with it for so long. But that was the most blatant, the most obvious one. Little jink and a twist and a nutmegs, wasn't it? I think through the defender's legs, and yeah, he's eventually got the upper hand on him. He always looked dangerous, but as usual, or as is often the case, Fatawu looking Leicester's biggest threat.
Jordan Ayew once more over this set piece. Can Leicester find a goal to cap what has been a very promising first half display? It's towards Vestergaard. Mavididi keeps the ball somehow really well. Leicester is showing that fight and want to win their individual duels.
Well, they've livened up a little bit, haven't they? Very slack, I thought, the first 5 minutes to get into their stride, but all of a sudden they're providing stiffer opposition, giving Leicester more problems to work out. But Leicester looking quite impressive, very composed on the ball. The passing is sharp and precise. One touch, two touch. They seem as if there's an understanding out there. Mavedidi's got the beating of fullback, all ends up.
Brilliant skill from Mavididi, who's still going. And like Fatawu on the right, Steffi Mavididi on the left is purring, and King Power Stadium enjoyed that a lot.
Well, I thought for one horrendous moment that Jerry Taggart had made a comeback there in the right back position, because Mavididi just strolled past him there. I mean, try and utilise that, giving the ball as often as you can. Both wide men, no surprise, both a threat.
El Khanous loops that forward. Chowdhury, who of course was one game away from winning promotion last season on loan at Sheffield United. Brilliantly kept in by El Khanous. Now Ayew. It's a very good challenge to stop him, and then Okoli won't get away with that one. He rather flattened his opponent, who is in some discomfort, but Caleb Okoli certainly stopped any chance of a Fiorentina attack.
In fairness to him, he did it. Made it look as if it was semi-unintentional. But he made sure that he got the contact. I think the ref would have been deliberating as to whether to produce a yellow card or not. But one thing I did notice there on a couple of occasions, balls into the box, particularly that second looping ball high in the air. Vestergaard, he's a huge individual. He's got to be more strong, more robust in the challenge. He just got nudged off by Felici, I think it was, who's quite a diminutive figure, far too easily. Be strong, go and attack that, go and dominate in the opposition box, and you could get some real reward out of it.
Well, here is Danish centre-back with his international teammate Mads Hermansen, who now looks for that long pass towards El Canoes. Header away by Guadio. Now Oliver Skipp had good championship experience in the past as well. Looking to make that central midfield berth his own. Some competition, I mentioned, and Ndidi and Winks both on the bench today.
Yeah, who'd have said, okay, it's a little while ago, but 2 years ago, Harry Winks, I know this is not done and dusted as the first 11 for next weekend, but I would imagine it's not a million miles off. Harry Winks was too good for the championship, according to a lot of people. This time 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, and you know, it's another example of the depth that Leicester do have, the options that they do have.
Now Marti Cifuentes will hope that fight for starting spots, so important. They've been in each other's pockets now for about 2.5 weeks since he was appointed on the 15th of July. They've won a few games together, which I think has been important as well, Matt. As we know, 6 Premier League wins last campaign. And how important is it to get that winning feeling back, even if it is only, say, only pre-season?
Yeah, listen, it's always a positive, isn't it? Getting victories under your belt, whatever the competition, whatever the stage of the season. Is Mavididi on the march again?
Picked out by Vestergaard's ball, and I think there was excitement at the end of last season once relegation was confirmed, of Mavididi on the left and Fatawu on the right in the championship, and the opening 27.5 minutes today, evidence of just why.
On top of that as well, the expectancy, hopefully Canoes remains at the club. Him in the championship, you would be very confident that he could impress. And you know, there's 3 out your front 4 who are top divisional performers. And I think going back to the manager's approach, or what he's looking for, is one, the technical side, and I think we've seen signs of that. It seems a more defined way, very similar to the last time Leicester were in the championship, that style of play, but most of these players have shown they can operate within that. I think we were talking about it before we came on air, about the psychological aspect of things. Leicester got relegated before. They were affronted by the fact they got relegated. They felt disgruntled. They were determined to show that they were better than that, get back into where supposedly they belong. Last year showed that they don't necessarily belong there automatically. They've got to raise themselves again.
And El Canoes to Ayew, who scores again in pre-season. And a very impressive opening 30 minutes against Fiorentina is rewarded with the opening goal. King Power Stadium's on its feet.
Sorry, Chris, I should have known to cut that short. I was just trying to squeeze that point in. But when I saw Fatawu with the ball, I thought, no, time to be quiet, Matt, because something normally happens. And it did. It all emanated from his forceful run. He slides the ball, good supporting run, which is going to be necessary, because Ayew is not the most mobile. He'll need runners in and around and behind. Canoes joins. I think it takes a ricochet off. Was it the defender or the goalkeeper? Was it the keeper? No, defender came out. Canoes launches himself. Leicester get the luck of the bounce, shall we say, the luck of the ricochet. Falls straight to Ayew, and he tucks it away quite comfortably. But you get bodies in the box, you create your own luck a little bit there. So nice and positive from Leicester, and probably deserved on the whole balance of things.
Jordan Ayew with the opener on Filbert Way. Again, Leicester showed determination to win the ball, not once but twice, with Fatawu and El Khanous. They're not giving up what might be lost causes. Now Marti Cifuentes will be delighted with that.
Yeah, I think, again, looking at the comparisons with under Maresca that season, there are lots of similarities. For me, again, it's very early. I think they are a little bit more proactive in how they're playing. You said Cifuentes wants them to be on the front foot, because many times, isn't it, Leicester were in advanced areas. If the option wasn't totally on to play that forward pass, more often than not it was safety, keep possession. A little bit more of a risk element about their play so far, which will please most supporters, I would imagine.
Yeah, that was despite the wins and the points. There were moments in the Championship where there was some murmurs from the stands. Leicester are certainly attacking quickly and with purpose under Marti Cifuentes, and Abdel Fatawu almost lighting up Filbert Way again. But it is so great to see him out there enjoying himself and providing rich entertainment. Now, on the far side, Fiorentina are readying their first change. Eman Cospo is about to come on. I did mention, weren't entirely sure what Stefano Pioli and his team would do today in terms of the amount of changes. They are a couple of weeks behind Leicester, and therefore might be one of those where all of the squad are going to get minutes today. But for now, Beltran is on the ball, and here is Richardson, the Morocco international, to release Parisi, and he didn't quite have the shape on that. Hermansen pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Leicester will be looking to, you know, follow on from that goal and not just sit back and allow Fiorentina the opportunity to get back on level terms. But just a little lesson there for Fatawu to take on board. We know his capabilities going forward. You know, he's a highly exciting talent. Just needs to increase that productivity, which I'm sure he will as his career goes on. He's game and willing to work back. Sometimes gets his angles wrong a little bit. Just cut off the line of pass there to help Hamza Chowdhury out instead of the ball going wide so easily. But again, that's little things he can pick up on and learn and help out solidify the team. But again, at Championship level, Mavididi one side, Fatawu the other. They're going to scare the life out of a lot of defenders.
And we look forward to seeing that over the coming months. So here is that change I was talking about.
Jerry Taggart's coming off.
Fortini, who has not enjoyed playing against Mavididi, he comes off. On in his place is Cospo. That'll be the first of many alterations we'll see this afternoon, but particularly from a Fiorentina perspective.
Yeah, I don't think that was a tactical decision rather than anything to do with minutes into the game of pre-season, but I think he may even chucked in an invisible hamstring or groin injury there, because he was toiling, in fairness.
Free kick goes against Oliver Skip for a shirt pull. Abdel Fatawu won't be too happy. He did eventually get one, but Fiorentina there winning the free kick, but giving possession away a little cheaply under good pressure. Abdelhaid Saviri. He had an interesting year in Saudi football, Stefano Pioli, since his first spell at Fiorentina. He won Serie A with AC Milan, and as we can see, a lot's going to happen at Fiorentina over the next month or so before their new season. As Hermansen, that was a dangerous ball to skip, but
yeah, it wasn't as dangerous as his initial option though. Sometimes, you know, he looked to play short and put the ball at risk off Fatawu again.
Too good. Fatawu is having quite an afternoon on his return to action. Brilliant. Simply stunning from Abdel Fatawu. And that is why there is so much excitement about Leicester's right
stuff from the Leicester wide man there. What a comeback performance in front of the home fans. He's been sadly missed. Last year he had moments of exhilaration. Unfortunately his time was cut short with that nasty injury, but you wouldn't know it. You would not know it at all. He's been the standout figure so far, and just too good for Fiorentina there. Again, he nipped past his opponent with increasing ease. He weighs up the situation. Many a time you've seen him get in those positions and blast it high and wide. If he can produce that reliability, that consistency in those positions, you've got a hell of a player.
Well, if today was about setting the standards for the upcoming campaign, Abdul Fatawu has led the charge, and Leicester leave Fiorentina, and they're on the hunt for more. Here is Fatawu. First game since November, first match here since October, and as Matt Elliott just mentioned, he looks really, really sharp.
Yeah, just to come back and look this sprightly, this bright, is incredible, really. I know he's had a couple of other pre-season games, but you know, this is turning it up a notch. He's performing like he does. What the future holds, we'll never know, but it's going to be exciting to find out.
Certainly is. Fiorentina with a spell of possession inside their own half, but swatching from a great vantage point high up on halfway. No one in Leicester colours is still. Players zipping around, looking to put pressure. That was a loose pass from Vestergaard, but there is a want, and comes from the coach, I guess, a demand that Leicester go hunting for the ball when they are not in possession.
You know, I liked about that goal, apart from the ability that Fatawu showed there, but that collective roar of appreciation and almost astoundment there, really, from the supporters. They were in awe of what they'd just seen. They don't see things like that too often, and to come from a player who's on his way back, who's made a massive impression at the club already, but again, it was one of those appreciation, but also it gives them expectation and hope going forward as well.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a tone, a mood setter today as well. Everyone here, a few may have headed out to the other pre-season friendlies, but Leicester playing in front of a big home crowd for the first time under Marti Cifuentes. Well, when they go for their half-time drinks, cup of tea or something stronger in just over 5 minutes, you sense that you can feel the buzz returning after everything that happened last season, and that this provides a snapshot of what they might be about to witness in the Championship. It bodes well.
I think the Leicester supporters are more resilient and supportive than they're given credit for. I mean, you see things on social media, and you know that's the minority really, but the general consensus was last time they got relegated, it was hugely disappointing, of course, but within that few weeks, the start of the Championship campaign, the atmosphere had gone. What is done is done. Let's move on, move forward, and that was the general impression that I got, and I'm getting it here again today.
And this performance and the 2 goals will have only aided that. Fazzini in central midfield for Fiorentina. See if we see their stars in the second half. Moises Keane had an incredible campaign, 25 goals last season. Of course, he was at Everton, but Edin Dzeko, who arrived. Robin Gosens, who at one stage was very heavily linked with Leicester,
apparently so,
the wing back. Flag does go up. Coedio for a second thought he might be in, but he did look offside.
Oh yeah, you know, his head's looking up in the skies there, and it was blatantly obvious. There's no one to blame but himself there. He's outside, he's got the run across the line, he can see everything, and just doesn't bother checking his run. Only himself to blame.
Well, he's not stopped talking and directing. Both coaches, actually, Marti Cifuentes and Stefano Pioli, but it's the man from Spain who will be much the happier. Looks like a number of players are heading out for a warm-up from a Leicester perspective. Maybe plenty of running over half-time, and we'll see how many changes they might make and how many minutes Marti Cifuentes wants in the legs. It'll be part of a plan.
You get the impression that the managers are already forged a relationship with the players as a group as well. You know, there seems to be that connection and sort of affiliation with it. I think the players are warm to him. He comes in, by all accounts, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but by all accounts very personable, very affable, open, you know, an honest approach to things, and the players would appreciate that.
Jordan O sets it back. He's been out for fish and chips in Leicestershire as well.
Yes, yeah.
Genuinely equating himself with a new home, right? He's
I like that.
Up to himself, that's important as well.
Well, I saw him, he was quoted as saying he wants to get to understand what Leicester City fans are all about. You know, he knows the passion of football supporters, but there's a uniqueness about clubs' followings, and you know, he wants to embrace himself in that, and that won't do him any harm whatsoever.
This is a decent move from Fiorentina, who we've not seen too much of in truth. Koshpo, who has just come on, sets it back again to Parisi from left back into that central area. We see that so often now, including with Luke Thomas, as we've mentioned today. Leicester won't want to give Fiorentina anything before half-time. Mads Hermansen has been not busy, and they will hope to continue that. It's a poor pass.
Yeah, they're slightly ponderous, aren't they, Fiorentina, in truth. We put it down to the stage of their pre-season, being that couple of weeks behind Leicester or so, as you mentioned, but that gap is evident, in truth, so far in this first 45. May well change, as a whole army of players are warming up, certainly on Leicester's behalf, though Fiorentina as well. They're all I think you're right. Certainly from the visitors' point of view, there will be wholesale changes. Leicester probably less so, because you want to get the best part of 90 minutes under the belts of the majority of players.
I was fouled there. Of course, he's played centre forward in his career, but played a lot of football, certainly at Crystal Palace and in his short spell at Leicester as one of the wide attackers. So if he is in line to start as the number 9,
I think he's an asset there, isn't he? I mean, he's got himself a goal. He's not. He doesn't score hatfuls, but he gets his fair share. You feel he should perhaps score a few more with the quality that he has. He's not going to go and stretch running behind. Those days are gone, if they were ever there at all. But you would imagine Leicester will have plenty of possession in games, and they'll be advanced and they'll be playing around the box. He's as clever and as cute as most in that sort of link-up play role.
And how many goals might Fatawu, Mavididi and El Khanous get if that is the 3?
Well, exactly. Even when Jamie Vardy was playing there in this style of football, very often the play was all about wide, and Vardy was the finishing touch. Ayew can provide that in those circumstances.
Luke Thomas scrapping away and winning it. It's been a feature of this first half and of pre-season, as Yannick Vestergaard stares down at Coedia, who did foul him, but that was good purpose in Fiorentina as well. We haven't seen too much of that.
I didn't think that was a foul myself. Did you? Is that what the referee blew up for? Perhaps an element of two-footedness about it, a little bit of a lunge, but he was a little bit casual there, really, Vestergaard. Well, it's an image he sort of portrays in his natural movements, isn't it? But needs to be careful. A couple of occasions, it's a little bit loose.
One additional minute at the end of this first half. Abdel Fatawu, the main man, just slows it down. Hamza Chowdhury back to Caleb Akoli, who's had a couple of good moments defensively. Akoli, Hermansen long down to Ayew. Fiorentina step in to win it. No route through, no easy route through though. And the 60 seconds is almost up. Well, very impressive first half from Leicester, who are warmly applauded off at King Power Stadium. Abdul Fatawi, so good to see him back with a superb second goal after Jordan Ayew's opener, and those who have turned up in the August sunshine have been rewarded. Leicester City 2, Fiorentina 0, the half-time score on Filbert Way. And Matt Elliott, Marti Cifuentes told his players, go all out to secure your spot in my 11 for next week against Sheffield Wednesday. Well, the 11 who started have heeded that advice.
Yeah, I think that safe to say that's right across the board to varying levels, some more than others, of course. Fatawu more than anyone. Mavropanos look bright at times, look sharp. Other than that, it's been relatively efficient. I mean, it's been quite slick. I've been impressed with the quality and the zip in Leicester's play at this early juncture of the season, and there's not too much to complain about there, really, is there? They're quite comprehensive, really. Disappointing in Fiorentina. May see a big change in them in the second half in terms of personnel and performance, but I think the aim for Leicester is just more of the same. They're getting bodies forward. Skip's trying to get forward without too much effect. Canoes is getting advanced. They need to do that to support the front man Ayew. White players are the main threat. It looks good throughout. Luke Thomas is slotting into that midfield, the inverted fullback stroke, extra midfield player role, exceptionally well. Been loose a couple of times defensively, but generally composed. Okoli's strolling through the game. It's a walk in the park for him thus far. And you've got the reassurance of Hermansen behind if and when anything does go awry. So I imagine the manager will be extremely pleased with what he's seen there. He's got a lot to work with on that performance.
Well, as you can see, the substitutes are out for both teams, a whole army of them. We will expect changes in the second half. Leicester City going in 2-0 up. They've had a good pre-season results-wise. This was always going to be a step up. And that, just finally, one word on Abdul Fatawi. A really serious injury that he had last season. It was such a blow to him personally and for the club. But my word, that 45 minutes out there gives such great optimism ahead of the new season.
Serious injury, and he's a seriously talented individual as well, isn't he? Which we all knew before that. And I wouldn't say I can't remember, but it's not often someone comes back after such a long time out, a serious injury, and performs like he has done today. Yes, it's a friendly. Yes, the opponent is questionable in terms of his defensive capabilities. He's been struggling from the off, but Fatawu has put him to the sword, and he'll do that to many a defender in the Championship, hopefully throughout the season. Just bringing that consistency, because I mentioned it, it was a wonderful strike, we're right behind it. He stopped and checked and thought, is there anyone there? No, I'll tell you what, I'll go and dip and swerve it into the far corner, because that's what I can do. It was too easy for him, he was too good. And I think you'll see a lot more evidence of that along the way this campaign.
We were together at Bournemouth in the promotion season.
Reminiscent, wasn't it?
When he scored in the FA Cup. This was closer in. I remember after that game, we spoke to him. A lot of his teammates were like, finally one went in.
Exactly.
Kind of joking, because he said, you always shoot, but it doesn't always happen. If he can add that finishing touch to his skills and his wing play, Leicester have got a serious player.
It's not like he didn't have that capability. Some people carry on shooting for the rest of their careers. They'll get 1 in 1,000 at top corner. He has that capability. Just got to refine it. And just for me, I would imagine I was never gifted in that way, but just practice. Just do it again and again and again. In a different way. Steve Guppy, I used to play with, massively, predominantly left-footed. He used to practice cross after cross, but he also practiced cutting inside and swirling one with his right foot. Not quite as viciously as Fatawu did there. It was more of a bend and a curve and a curl. And he scored half a dozen goals in the Premier League that way. Fatawu has got to be on repeat mode, because that's his biggest asset. He can go on the outside and dink it, he can cut in and whip across it, but his shots on goal, the capability and the potential that he has to get some serious numbers, as they say these days, is huge. It's huge, and you know, can really forge a proper career for himself.
We'll be back for the second half shortly, but let's enjoy the words of Dan Bates, Frank Sinclair and Jerry Taggart after this first half. Leicester 2-0 up.
Leicester City champions. There's a few banners actually in the players. To signal that Leicester are straight back up to the Premier League.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside here at King Power Stadium. At half-time here, it's Leicester 2, Fiorentina 0 in the final dress rehearsal, if you like, ahead of the new season, which starts in a week's time. Of course, that game will just about be preparing to be kicked off in a week's time against Sheffield Wednesday. So hopefully we can see a repeat of what we've seen in the first 45 minutes here, because it's been very, very good from a Leicester point of view. I'm Dan Bates, Jerry Taggart and Frank Sinclair are alongside me. How pleased are you with what we've seen in that first half?
Yeah, I mean, I think before the game I was speaking about, I'm interested to see how the structure of the team, how the team's set up, how to counteract what Fiorentina bring to the table. And I think, you know, they've looked very assured, very confident in possession. I'm sure we'll talk about the goals in a minute, but I overall, really impressed with what I've seen.
Yeah, the first goal, obviously, Jordan Ayew, it was great work on the right initially, wasn't it, from Abdul Fatawu, then El Khanous slid in as well.
Yeah, it was a good goal for, you know, when you look at it from Jordan Ayew's point of view, because some people will say it's lucky. Me and Tags was talking about it after the goal, and he makes his own luck because he continues his run in the box. He gets himself in between the sticks where you get your one-touch finishes. You know, sometimes keepers parry him down to you. In this occasion, it's because, you know, I'm not sure who it was that made the sliding tackle.
El Khanous.
Yeah, El Khanous made the tackle, and it sits there easily for him to tap it in. So he makes his own luck by being in the right areas there, but he would have been pleased with that because he worked hard. And most of his work that Jordan done was with his back away, facing away from goal. You know, he had a lot of ball into his feet. He never got to straighten up the defenders or go past people or get shots off. So he'd be pleased that he gets that opportunity.
And that second goal was just all about one man, wasn't it, Jerry?
I mean, I'm screaming, and me and Frank are telling him, just give him the ball. You know, the fullback's already been booked. He's pulled his shirt at least 3 times. Yeah. And I think Abdul's had one decision went his way, and that was for the yellow card the fullback was showing. So we knew the fullback was on borrowed time. Just give him the ball, and then he just did the rest. A phenomenal bit of solo play from Abdul Fattah. We know he's got the beating up, and sometimes the game is that simple. When you see a player who's getting joy, it doesn't matter what flank it's on or where it's through the middle of the pitch, and you see him in space or he's got a bit of time, just give him the ball and let's see what he can do. And my, how did he do it?
Very much so, and a really good finish. We saw him do it so many times in the Championship as well. The last time, obviously, Leicester were in this division a couple of years ago and got straight back up, thanks in part to Abdul Fattah and some of the goals that he scored. And as soon as he gets it on that left foot, you know what he's going to try and do every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, you know, in the first half, we were a threat. Leicester were a threat from both attacking areas. You know, sometimes you can question the actual, you know, the output of assists and that Mavididi gets for you, assists and goals himself. Sometimes he can flatter to deceive, but he's been shown on the other side what it's all about with that type of finish. But at the same time, Mavididi's been really productive, getting at his winger, going past him, getting to the final third. Just needs to start getting that ball in the box a bit earlier, and he'll be a threat as well. Yeah,
well, if you've not had enough of Jerry Taggart with us here on the desk today and Matt Elliott on co-commentary duty, the latest podcast is available for you. Martin Waghorn is the special guest. It's available for you on all platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch it as well on YouTube and on Fox's Hub. Here's a little snippet of what to expect from Martin Waghorn's episode.
So when he first came, we all know he struggled a little bit, didn't he? Like with everything going on. I just remember pre-season. I remember him coming in. Where I think we were in Austria at the time, and everyone's like, "Oh, we've got this lad from non-league or whatever." Jamie Vardy's coming in. He's a bit whatever. Everyone's like, "Oh, fair enough." And I just remember him just laying into everyone, like annihilating, battering people, smashing people. And everyone's like, who is this guy? Just giving everyone a load of abuse and thinking, people are saying that he needs to calm down. Do you know where he's come from, where he is now? And look, he was just so raw. Within days, everyone just loved him. Like his personality, just. The only problem is you just could not rest when he was around you. Dressing room, you knew something was getting cut up, battered, deep heat, like anything. You just knew you just couldn't leave him alone for a minute. And it was just
that's unusual, isn't it, to come straight in from like lower level, straight into the mix.
Into that level, he's just like, I'm coming for you.
Here, if you are just joining us, Leicester 2, Fiorentina 0. If it's half-time and 2-0 in a week's time, Leicester will be very happy, I'm sure. Just a week to go now until kick-off. Sheffield Wednesday are the visitors here to King Power Stadium. If you want to follow the Foxes live this season, you won't miss a minute with Foxes Hub. Early bird packages are available now with international seasonal video and seasonal listen live passes on offer for you. So for more information on any of those and what you can do, all you need to do is head onto the website. We've got a couple of minutes left before we hand back to our commentary team, guys. I'm sure we'll probably see some changes, presumably from the Fiorentina point of view, but I don't think Leicester will care about that, will they? With the way that they've played and, fair to say, dominated that first 45 minutes.
I think they'll probably relish. You know, we've just been looking on who's on the bench, and they've got some experienced Premier League, European class players on the bench, Fiorentina, which look like they're about to come on for the second half. So again, Leicester tails up, feeling confident, playing well, bring it on.
Yeah, it'd be a different challenge the second half, most definitely. They got the likes of Edin Dzeko coming on the pitch. Definitely there's a big gap between the B team that played the first half and what they consider as their A team for the second half. So there could be possibly different challenges. What Leicester want to do is, obviously, the lads will want to continue to dominate the game and start really quickly again. You know, some of the players will probably, you know, be planned to come off after, you know, 60 minutes or whatever it might be, and other players will be chomping at the bit to get on and make a claim for next weekend as well.
Yeah, well, presumably we might see some 90 minutes. We did that in Austria. We saw a number of players getting 90 minutes. I suppose at this stage of pre-season, probably some players want the 90 minutes now, don't they?
And they need it. You know, as far as the back line is concerned, I haven't been in too much trouble. I haven't been overworked. Keeper, especially. I can't remember him making. He might have made one save, but was meant to be a cross, but and gathered it easily. So yeah, there's going to be some players that probably will play 90 minutes. Just going back to that first half performance, the work rate of the front players, the high press, maybe the manager Marty, he'll be thinking about maybe changing that after the hour, 65, 70 minute mark, to give them guys, because they have worked really, really hard. I've been really impressed by the top line and the work rate that they've shown.
That is something we spoke about pre-match, wasn't it? About off the ball, how quickly Leicester win it back, and clearly it's something that all Marti Cifuentes teams do.
Yeah, it was a big part of the first goal. If you remember rightly, it all starts with the high press, winning the ball back, and then driving and penetrating straight away. And yeah, they get a little bit of fortune at the end, but that comes from the work ethic of the midfield players, wide men, winning the ball back high up the pitch. And you always know that the higher up the pitch you win the ball, the more opportunities you're going to get at goal, and shots and working the goalkeeper. So credit for that style of play.
Right, as you can see behind us, the Fiorentina team are back out for the second half. The Foxes are also coming out as well, so let's hand you back to our commentary team for this second half. Chris Barrett is alongside Matt Elliott.
Substitution for Fiorentina, replacing number 3 Alessandro Bianco is number 2 Niccolo Fagioli.
The Leicester flags flying proudly ahead of the second half, and no surprise following that first 45 minutes. This crowd have been richly entertained. Second half shortly to commence. Final game of pre-season. Jordan Ayew's opener, Abdel Fattahou's a brilliant second. And what might we expect from Fiorentina in the second half? They were nowhere near looking like a team who finished 6th in Serie A and reached the European semi-final last season, but as we mentioned, a couple of weeks behind Leicester in terms of pre-season, which is a lot at this stage. As Jordan Ayew wins a free kick. Again, those battling qualities that he had. Was one of the most fouled players in the Premier League, certainly when he was at Crystal Palace, and that is a quality that maybe Matt can bring to that centre forward role, and he's given Leicester a platform here with this early set piece.
Well, he actually doesn't get fouled very often, but he creates the most whistles from referees in that respect. But no, he's very cute, he's very clever. He's got a number of qualities, and not all that are appreciated often enough, I don't think. He's not lightning quick, but he has other attributes for sure.
El Canu spears that one into Vestergaard. Skip was lurking, and it runs through to Martinelli.
Not Skip's forte, I don't think. Getting above the defender, arm across and powering it towards that far corner. A valiant effort, shall we say, but it would be much more effective if Okoli was that man who was attempting to make contact. But it's simple enough. Ball in an area to Vestergaard. He wins the first contact, which he should do more often. caused a bit of a problem. They've looked reasonably threatening at set pieces today so far. Not that they've had that many, but bright enough start again from the Foxes.
Abdel Fattah can't believe that the free kick went against him on that occasion. He initially won it well, Matt, and then ultimately just about fouled Fabiano Parisi. That battle still goes on, and certainly Leicester's right winger has had the upper hand in it. There is lots of activity on the Fiorentina bench at the moment. Lots of players taking their training tops off. They didn't make wholesale changes at the break. Leicester didn't make any changes. As Hamza Chowdhury, that was good pressure from him, and it will lead to a goal kick. Fattah argues his case.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it pans out, particularly from Leicester's point of view. The guys there talking about the possibility of 90 minutes for perhaps the majority of the players. Certainly, I'd like to play a minimum 2/3 90 minutes before the first proper game of the season. Less often the case these days. I remember a couple of seasons ago, Leicester, majority of players didn't even play one full 90 minutes, but somehow looked sharp enough on come the opening day. But personally, yeah, I'd like to get a 90-minute as an individual there. I think certainly probably 5 or 6 of them will.
Mavridis forward to El Khanous with options. Stabbed it towards Ayo. Fiorentina clear. And here is Beltran, who, as he was moving forward 30 seconds ago, was very unhappy with the amount of options he had ahead of him. He was fouled there. Referee played an advantage. And Fiorentina with the ball towards Fazzini, but they have looked short of preparation, or shorter in preparation certainly than Leicester.
Yeah, by some distance, I think, on the evidence so far. So, you know, that may be sort of magnifying Leicester's dominance, impressiveness, but you can't help but keep looking at that front four, particularly the three behind, as Jerry mentioned at half-time. Ayew more than playing his part. You know, he could be very influential as the final figure. They're the final piece, if you like, of the construction that those three behind him can create.
Decent defending there, but Leicester will face a corner here. And as I mentioned in the first half, Marti Cifuentes will want to see them put under pressure defensively, I'm sure. He certainly will be next weekend against Sheffield Wednesday, despite all of the difficulties we're hearing about from Hillsborough. And then the games just keep on coming. Saturday, Tuesday, as Ayew heads away. I say Saturday, Tuesday. Since Leicester were last in the Championship, of course, there is the big new TV deal, so keep an eye on Leicester's social media channels and lcfc.com, because kick-off times this season are going to be interesting. Leicester's first, of course, on a Sunday tea time. And how many games they play at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, we shall see. Ayew was fouled there again. Good, positive centre-forward play. Too good for Pablo Mari.
Yeah, we talk about his cuteness and his intelligence there, and both in evidence. No little ability either. That's a very difficult skill to perform, and he was coming at pace. The touch has got to be exquisite, really. They didn't need pace, he just needed forethought and better movement than the defender, and he was streets ahead in that respect. And you know, he's showcasing himself very well to his manager up to this point.
So is Luke Thomas in the left back berth. No Victor Christensen today in the squad, and he was quite clearly shoved to the floor there. Yeah, there's individual battles, I guess, in the dressing room. Jordan Ayew ahead of Patson Daka today, and we've talked about his performance a lot. And there he is, the centre forward. getting a short pass from Mads Hermansen, if you want to know about how fluent this formation is under Marti Cifuentes.
Yeah, again, similarities to a couple of seasons ago there. Sometimes Vardy used to come short, or Daka. Midfielders recognised that and made the run in behind, stretch the defence. Oliver Skip in that case.
Lovely move here, and Fatawu onto that left foot. Pass back to Chowdhury was too short, but then Akoli, powerful and positive. King Power Stadium is enjoying what they are witnessing, and it's no surprise.
I think they're mildly but very pleasantly surprised at what they're seeing.
As I mentioned, for many, the first time they will have seen Leicester playing under Marti Cifuentes has been, if you think about since Brendan Rodgers left, plenty have been in that home dugout, but Leicester's Spanish coach has got his team playing this afternoon. That was better from Fiorentina, actually. Overhit pass in the end, but there was snap and pattern to their play there.
Yeah, a little bit concerning that both centre-halves got dragged in out of position. One can sort of follow the man if they want to take half a gamble. They know they've got cover, but you can't both go in like that and leave your central defensive area totally exposed. Samare had dropped in an almost left-back position to cover as best he could, but I think he would have come up short if the pass was better weighted.
This time it's Hamza Chowdhury who begins the harrying and the hassling, and El Khanous who then finishes off with the goalkeeper, and Luke Thomas is the beneficiary. For the first time though, it's Fiorentina who win that kind of 50-50 duel, and away they come. Chowdhury's header was impressive again. He tries to take on his opponent, and the free kick goes the way of Iviola, and they might have a chance here of putting this into the penalty area.
He did his job initially, Chowdhury there, decent positioning, which is not always his strength.
The shot is very, very wayward. Mads Hermansen not happy about how Fiorentina were able to get themselves into the shooting position, but
just
that was never troubling him.
Yeah, switched off, didn't they? But it's not to say the next attempt in that position wouldn't know. Exactly, there was a little bit of a casualness there, ambling back into position. You've got to be alert and switched on. Perhaps the sort of sloppiness of Fiorentina's play caught Leicester out on that occasion.
Well, that wasn't sloppy, and Akoli with a very important block. Lucas Beltran, his effort may have been heading in. Seeing much more from Fiorentina now. That was really good from the centre forward.
Well, I was watching him in the warm-up, and he was in exactly the same situation there 3 or 4 times, unopposed. But he was practicing that movement, faking the shot, rolling it on it with his studs and creating another position, deceiving the defender. And again, if you can pick up on that, you can half expect it. Leicester didn't seem prepared for it.
Very good ball in there. Picked up by Koshpo. And now Nicola Fagioli, who came on at half-time. It's a decent hit. Fazzini clears the crossbar, but shots beginning to rain down on Mads Hermansen goal as we see the first Leicester changes, and this one very popular. Casey McAteer is coming on, Abdul Fatawu heading off. An excellent almost hour under Abdul Fatawu's belt. A brilliant performance. Straight swap with Casey McAteer on in that right wing role. And King Power Stadium will enjoy the fact that they get to see Jeremy Monga as well. 16 now, replacing Steffi Mavididi. So McAteer and Monga, who will know they're going to have to perform this season if they want minutes, given the quality of Fatawa and Mavididi, but further evidence of the squad depth that Marti Cifuentes has at his disposal. And immediately, McAteer, oh, that would have been his first touch and he might have been in on goal. But what a good position to be in, Matt.
Yeah, very
Two
much
youngsters,
so.
I mean, one very, very young in Jeremy Monga, of course, but Casey McAteer as well. We know all about their qualities, and this might be, you know, where they come into games for the last 15, 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, and Monga in particular, but and Casey as well, they're only going to get better. They're at the infancy of their career. Obviously, McAteer's had a bit of experience both in this division and the Premier League, but you feel they're going to grow in confidence, grow physically. They're going to be more and more of a threat, a massive proposition for the opponents. I mean, that youth, that exuberance there, along with ever-growing confidence, coming on at stages against tiring Championship defence. You know, that has all sorts of possibilities and capabilities about it, as do the two boys who've just gone off there. I mean, the manager, Jerry, like I mentioned it at half-time, 100% correct to be not protecting those two, but looking after them. They put in an explosive, for the most part, performance there. So they're going to feel it more than most. They've had those, you know, the sprint, the high velocity runs. They brought the sparkle to this game largely, but you want to save their energy, don't you? Because you want to see more of that sparkle throughout the season.
Here is Monga, his first touch. Great excitement as he's on the ball. He loses the first duel, he'll be back for more. And the other thing is that Mavididi and Fatawa will know that they need to perform as well, with McAteer and Monga and others eyeing up those starting 11 spots. As Chowdhury plays it back to Mads Hermansen, we are shortly, as we tick towards the hour mark, going to see a whole raft of Fiorentina changes.
You look throughout the team, there's competition for places, isn't there? I think in every position other than goalkeeper, Stalacic is more than capable. Hermansen is without doubt the number one. Those two wide players you mentioned, despite Monga and McAteer being highly talented, they're nailed on for Fatawa and Mavididi, and Knuth also. After that, there's a case for every position there. The midfielder, Winks, is on the bench. I'm missing one other's gone out of my head in midfield. Centre halves, you know, you've got Fats, a Belgian international, as an option. Ben Nelson, Ricardo's about. There's bodies right throughout the squad. There's competition for places, which will serve well. Up front, options as well, obviously, with Patson Daka.
Vestergaard has been felled there. The whistle will bring about these alterations, and looks like 7 or 8 new players coming on for Fiorentina. There they are.
It's funny how, what have we played now? Best part of 60 minutes. Can change a little bit of your mentality. So it's important not to get too carried away. Leicester have been impressive today. And you look at them and you think the opposition they're playing against, albeit a little bit of a second squad, if you like, the second team of Fiorentina. Perhaps we'll see a true reflection now with these changes. But you're looking at it and thinking, Leicester could do that to these guys. You know, what are they capable of doing in the EFL divisions, but doesn't always quite work like that, does it? Be a different entity come next weekend.
Well, there is a good splattering of famous purple Fiorentina jerseys, and those players who started the game heading off, and the likes of Edin Dzeko and Moise Kean have come on. It is on paper a stronger team now that Leicester will face for the last 30 minutes. Edin Dzeko is already moaning about the length of time that Luke Thomas is taking over that, and this will be a different test, a good test to watch now for the Foxes. Thomas under pressure from Cordero dos Santos, who maybe shows what Fiorentina are going to be about now. Casey McAteer offside, must have just about started in his own half, but this now, Matt, by the looks of things, for the first 10-20 seconds, Leicester are going to have a different proposition.
Yeah, perhaps, you know, players coming on who possess a bit more authority, a bit more confidence, and obviously experience to a large degree. So more of a test, especially as those players in blue shirts are just starting to feel the fatigue a little bit, really, at this stage of the game. So it will be a test for them, sort of physically and mentally, in terms of concentration as well, because they face a different challenge now.
So one replay there. Dodo wanted the penalty from Luke Thomas, but
yeah, debatable, wasn't it? And the arm was out. He went down a little easy. I think he realised Hermansen was probably going to get there just before him, but it was too tight for comfort.
Here is a Coley, and Keane rampaging around. Had a tough spell at Everton, but he is a seriously talented player. 25 goals last season in all competitions.
There's just a different mood about the
there is
Fiorentina there, isn't there? The way they're structured around the pitch, and it looks like people are barking out a few orders, getting everyone on their toes, and that front two certainly in their heyday, or Dzeko's heyday, alongside Keane, is a handful for anyone.
Edin Dzeko, who has arrived this summer, as I mentioned it, a new coach, but model of a sporting director who does lots of the transfers. So Yannick Vestergaard, well, that is a battle of the giants up there. Vestergaard against Dzeko. Arrived from Fenerbahce, the big Bosnian before that, of course, Inter and Roma.
He's one of those players, the Dzeko. He's, what is he, 6'4", 6'5", ranging, you know, reasonably powerful, but his game's not about that physical force that he possesses, is it? He's very cute. He's just an excellent finisher, good link-up player, very intelligent player, and constantly underrated, somewhat bizarrely.
Turns his 40
goals record
in March.
He's 40. I'm thinking he must be getting on for that age.
Yeah, he's a class operator, as we saw in his spell with Manchester City. Since then, he has scored an awful lot of goals for some very, very big clubs. I might have a gift here. A good piece of defending in the end by Marin Pongrancic. They have looked a little loose today, Fiorentina. And here is Monga looking to exploit it. The young teenager. McAteer couldn't get on the end of it. Here is El Kanous. So just 2 changes for Leicester so far. Fiorentina trying to pick out Dodo, the Brazilian. Luke Thomas had his angles covered there. Good poise, good pace, and no harm done as we tick into the 67th minute.
There's good awareness, good positioning, foresight by Luke Thomas there, because Leicester were playing forward in an advanced area, and the ball was played into Skip, and he's sort of lost possession, unexpectedly. So Thomas could be forgiven for advancing too far forward, but he read the situation, got back in position very quickly.
Well, this was the half chance for Jordan Ayew. Would have been a great opportunity, Matt, had it fallen to him.
Substitution
They've done a few strange things, haven't they? They've looked for a top-flight club that they are. They've done some quite unusual and at times amateur.
Double change for Leicester. Harry Winks back at King Power Stadium. Comes on for Oliver Skipp. And Patson Daka, having watched Jordan Ayew impress, now has the final quarter to stake his claim. Marty Cifuentes there though. A job very well done by Jordan Ayew up front today. In a week's time we'll be 4 minutes away from kickoff. Sheffield Wednesday here, and would suggest that Jordan Ayew, the front runner to start as the number 9.
Yeah, he has that reliability about him, doesn't he? Proven intelligence as well, with the pace. Oh, here we go, McAteer.
McAteer for 3-0. Denied by a good save from Martinelli, but El Khanous will pick it up. And that was fired at Martinelli. All arrived after great work from Patson Daka to win the ball.
Very direct, athletic run from McAteer there. He's very adept at making those runs and piercing through the defensive line. Like to see more of it. Reminded me of his goal and his precise finish. An excellently timed run away at Southampton. I think it was 2 seasons ago. But we should utilise that more. His athleticism and powerful running is so difficult to cope with, and players like Khanous and others around him, they can pick him out. They can have that weight of pass. Would have been nice to see the finish, but that'll come down the line.
Scored here against Ipswich the end of last season, making his mark in the Premier League. And before the injury, if you remember 2 years ago under Enzo Maresca, he started the season brilliantly in the Championship. The goal at Rotherham.
Yeah, he nicked himself a few goals, didn't he, at the far post, and it was crucial to the season. But it sometimes just plays a little bit within himself. Just get that, puff his chest out and go and show people what he's all about, because he's a great team player, but sometimes you have to push yourself forward a little bit at times.
It's interesting you say that. I spoke with him after the Brighton game, and he kind of mentioned that Ruud van Nistelrooy had said to him, look,
yeah, you need to have a bit of a strut about you.
You can show a nastier side sometimes, and
he's physical. But I just mean, he's a lovely lad. But just, people call it football arrogance, don't they? I don't know. Belief, just that genuine belief in yourself. Saying, well, I'm going to be the boss today. I'm going to get the better of you, and not maybe. I'm not saying Casey does, but some players have that attitude. Go, I hope it goes well for me today. They don't tell themselves it is going to work.
Has all the qualities. So the three have changed. El Khanous, in terms of the front four, is the only one who started the game that is now out there with 20 minutes left. Was Patson Daka there? Asked a question of Tommaso Martinelli. He just about passed it.
Yeah, the keeper looks very uncomfortable with the ball at his feet, which is quite unusual these days.
Might get another ball here. Harry Winks goes chasing. Albert Gudmundsson back to his goalkeeper. And Leicester pressing high up the pitch. Fiorentina actually have worked this beautifully to Moise Kean, and Thomas will get there ahead of Dodo. Good defending again from Luke Thomas, who finished last season under Ruud van Nistelrooy and was one of the big winners really from the Dutchman's reign here, and I think won a lot of admirers from the Leicester fans about the way he went about his business when he got back in the team, Luke Thomas, and he has continued that this pre-season.
Shown good mental strength, hasn't he? I think again, maybe one of those players who came in, had that initial surge, then he sort of plateaued a little bit. And did he have that genuine belief? Like, because he seems much more positive. Seeing him today, you know, he's been a first-team member for a good few years now. The confidence level should be there, and it seems like they're finally sinking in, because he's strutting his stuff a little bit, isn't he? Without being overly flamboyant, but the confidence is there, and that, you know, the brightness of mind as well, defensively, and he's been very impressive today, as you say, one of the few that can come out of the last season with any form of credit, really.
Chowdhury and Winks were left in a heap there, but both are fortunately okay. It's also the stage of pre-season where no injuries is high on the list of everybody's priorities. McAteer won't win a free kick there. Edin Dzeko gets it again. And Dodo this time does get the beating of Luke Thomas. Gudmundsson missed the first effort, and a Coley, it's another block, and he celebrates the block. He's had a very impressive opening 73 minutes.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I don't mind patting himself on the back there, because it was well deserved. It shows how committed he is, how keen he is to, you know, to put his body in the way. Luke Thomas there just undone. I don't know whether it was intentional or not, by the weight of pass from Dzeko. He rolled it, and I thought it was under hit at first. I mean, Thomas thought he could get there, didn't realise he couldn't, by which time he was slightly out of position and got turned.
Dzeko once again. He and the subs have definitely made a big impact for Fiorentina, but El Canus, clever little toe in there, and again brilliant footwork, and he knew where Patson Daka was. Fine defending from Pongracic, the Croatian. That was a great battle.
It was, but initially I'm wondering where Daka's running, because Canus was only ever going in to play the ball forward in one area, down that right-hand channel, and he's turned his back and he's running across the pitch towards the central stroke left-hand side. Then when he saw where the ball was won, even then he nearly got across his man. Scrambled defensive work, but perhaps Daka needs to assess the situation maybe and preempt it a little bit better.
He would have been in.
Exactly, 100%. Made the run earlier.
Another two changes, and warm applause for Yannick Vestergaard, replaced by Wout Faes. And Hamza Chowdhury is coming off here for Ben Nelson. So, see exactly where Nelson is going to play at. Akoli, by the looks of things, is going to go to right back. Nelson and Faes, the two centre-halves. I need to peer down to see who has got the captain's armband with Hamza Chowdhury now off the pitch, but Nelson immediately under pressure against Keane, who wants handball. He's adamant it should be a Fiorentina penalty. And straight into the heart of the battle, young Ben Nelson against an Italy international who has a word with the referee. And no VAR today, no VAR this season for Leicester, unless they, well, when they play in the FA Cup or progress a long way in the League Cup. But Fiorentina are sure here that they should have had a spot kick.
I think by their reaction that there was contact in the left arm stroke hand of Ben Nelson, but intentional or avoidable, I couldn't really say. It happened in a flash, didn't it? But certainly you don't want that to be your first action in the game, do you? But slightly unsettling. But again, it's just a little signal to Ben to switch on from the very off. You have to be focused throughout, and that's a part of his game that he can improve on, because he like Akoli, has many of the basic qualities of a top-class centre-half.
Great season at Oxford in the Championship last campaign.
Yeah, that would do him a huge favour. That, you know, he's played at the forthcoming level already. He's done it. He's been tested to the max, probably. They're playing for Oxford. Different expectations to Leicester. Probably be different types of games, but he would have been under pressure for long periods of the game, and by all accounts was very good in doing so. Good reports back, and it's another one, a little quandary from the manager. You know, some people are saying put Nelson and Coley together. I don't think that's maybe the right option. They get away with it at times. You just need to develop their creativity a little bit from the back as well, their reliability on the ball, but physically they've got everything going on, those two.
And they exchange passes there, and even from up high here, Ben Nelson is very tall, and now you can see physically I think he's grown as well since that spell.
Quick as well.
Yeah. And a fine pass there up to Casey McAteer, who gets it to Okoli. McAteer again. Now El Khanous. Gorgeous ball to Luke Thomas. Thomas strides forward in the sunshine. Monga. Always positive. Up against Dodo here, a very experienced right back. It's going to be a good test for him. And Dodo comes out on top on that occasion.
Yeah, a little bit of a learning curve for Monga there. Pick and choose his moments, doubled up on there. He doesn't seem to me to have lightning pace at this stage of his development. He's no slouch by any stretch, but you know, he's very technical. He's got bags of ability and skill, hasn't he? He has to do something a little bit out the norm, which he's very capable of, to get past his defender. It's not just a little dip of the shoulder, knock and go. That's Mavididi for Taru to a degree, but he'll learn the ropes as he goes along.
Keane now, he wins a free kick. He's slightly soft, but a fine centre forward play from him. Well, this is the shout that Fiorentina had for a penalty, and Matt Elliott.
VAR might have caused Ben Nelson a problem there, because it sort of got ricochet between his hip and his lower arm, didn't it? And almost got stuck there for a nanosecond. I wouldn't say it was intentional, but it was obstructive. And again, I repeat, it's a reminder to be in the zone the second you enter that field of play.
I found Edin Dzeko there. Great test for him, though, against an extremely talented and very wily centre forward now. Suggests there won't be many of the calibre of Edin Dzeko and Moise Keane in the Championship next season, but Nelson releases Harry Winks, who has Daka and McAteer ahead of him, and plenty of green grass. Oh, he's picked out Daka and McAteer. Leicester should have finished Fiorentina off with a third.
Well, if McAteer had scored, I'm afraid I could not give Patson Daka the assist for that, because it's totally unintentional. It was a poor touch, in fairness, and it bounced off him straight to the path of McAteer. Had to rush it a little bit. You'd fancy him to get closer than he did, though, that's for sure. Left foot or not. Harry Winks, excellent. The space looked like it was disappearing, but he slotted that inch perfect, weight perfect to Daka. Between him and McAteer, he made a little bit of a mess of it.
Still only two. Brilliant surging midfield play from Harry Winks, though.
I'd say I'd be worried about if I was a Fiorentina manager there. I mean, Harry Winks is an excellent athlete in terms of endurance. Pace is not his strongest point, but he just strode away from the Italian team's midfield there. Very worryingly from their point of view, but excellent from Winks, nice and positive.
Dodo's delivery was a good one after Keane had done very well. Mads Hermansson's goal not threatened in the end, but it was half a chance for Robin Gosens. Another change. double switch again. And a chance for two of Leicester's young guns to get an opportunity. Bilal El-Khanous and Caleb Akoli are coming off. Their pre-seasons now are done in terms of match action. A big week of training coming, of course, and chance to see Luko, and a chance to see Lewis Page a little more as well. And Marti Cifuentes has talked a lot about the youngsters and the development of them, and there's plenty on the pitch now in terms of Leicester City's future. And they are hounding around there. Page almost nipped in to win it, and Monga together. Luko has gone to right back area, so Akoli's stay there wasn't too long.
Good position there by Ben Nelson. Luko's in a 1v1 situation, just slightly out of position. The ball's played in behind, nice and calm and smooth, and gathered by Ben Nelson there, who cruised the ball back to his goalkeeper.
Neat pass forward there for Patson Daka to chase, and yet amazing how it changes, because all of a sudden Ben Nelson is the senior member of the right hand side of the Leicester defence, and Marti Cifuentes giving nearly all of the outfield players have now been changed, apart from Luke Thomas and Bouba Soumaré.
Yeah, just having a look at that. What was a poor pass there?
Yeah, by Luko, and Dzeko clears the crossbar.
Yeah, Soumaré is thinking. Gaffer is having a little wave there, a little glance over to the bench. In fairness, he has the potential. At times he looks a very good athlete. We're not sure about his endurance at times. So perhaps the manager's thinking, all right, I'm just going to give him that bit of extra there, because he, in that engine room, if you like, for 90 plus minutes, you need to be a force throughout the game, not just in phases and patches.
Well, the first of 46 high-intensity championship games will be underway this time next week, all the way through until early May. Top two the target. The playoffs, as Leicester know very well, in terms of the 90s, and it is going to be hold on to your seats action. Last time under Enzo Maresca it started so brilliantly. You need, what, 90 points potentially to go up automatically, Matt.
Yeah.
That means winning an awful lot of football matches.
Yeah, that does sound longer than it would do normally, that 46 game stretch. You're thinking, I'm huffing and puffing just sitting here thinking about it, never mind the players. But yeah, the challenge ahead is going to be intriguing. It is, as always, ups and downs, but a positive start, yeah, is I was going to say imperative, but it's hugely important, isn't it? Because the disappointment last season, and if there was any sort of call for any negativity early on, it could really hamper Leicester's prospects. But this has raised the spirits. Yes, it's just a pre-season friendly, but this performance today has lifted the mood, certainly, and that in turn will have an effect at the opening game of the season at home against Sheffield Wednesday. Without being overconfident, you can't ask for too much better proposition, and the onus is on Leicester to go out and perform. They have the capability, they've got the mentality to see it through. I think with this manager there's every chance.
Well, as you were talking there, we saw Hermansen having to put the ball out of play after a loose pass, and Martí Cifuentes came marching out to the edge of his technical area. He wasn't happy. Those are the demands he is setting, and here is Monga up against two. Thomas looking for Daka or McAteer, and Goossens with a poor ball really, Aluko. That was neat. Back with Soumare. They scored the goals. They'd like the clean sheet as well, I'm sure, as a defensive unit. Well, Vrancic, who was racing around to try and win it there.
Well, they haven't really looked like conceding too often, have they? If at all, really. Hermansen, again, it was mentioned at half-time, no save of any note. I think that's continued in the second half as well, isn't it? So it's been a probably somewhat expectedly poor performance from Fiorentina because of the stage of their pre-season they're at, but Leicester have done everything and more of what they needed to do today. Could have been a more impressive final scoreline. 2-0 will suffice with some quality play, but generally they just looked like a good outfit, haven't they? They look like they know what they're doing. And the manager only being there for a short period of time, that's hugely positive.
Less than 3 weeks as he speaks with Javi Calm and Andy King. Group that looks fully invested in playing the way that he wants them to play. I think we can safely say that from this 89 minutes so far.
Yeah.
The patterns of play are there, the understanding is there. Can they finish it with a goal? Oh, Luco was there. Gudmundsson slashes it away.
Interesting how Fiorentina set up with that set piece. You see how deep they were? They were like inside their 6-yard box. There's any sort of touch. Like generally you stay as high as you can. Some teams stay extraordinarily high, the likes of Man City and others. Leave a big gap to play the ball into. I think that's slightly risky, but not as much as that. I mean, that's asking for trouble. Leicester nearly got the end of it, and the keeper's done and dusted if it's on target.
As I mentioned, Stefano Pioli went back to Florence a couple of days before Martí Cifuentes was appointed. And on this very early evidence, and there's more work to do for him in terms of setting up Fiorentina the way that he wants to play. Oh, Daka there.
Decidedly dodgy, the goalkeeper.
Very nervy moment from Martinelli. And David De Gea sat over there on the bench. As I mentioned, they play Forest in midweek, and they're Manchester United.
Yeah, they could have a tough pre-season on their hands, judging by this performance.
Luke Thomas. Glorious weather now. It was pouring with rain pre-kick-off, but it feels like a nice August day. Here is Monga as we approach the 90th minute. 2 additional minutes. Monga not given a free kick.
Again, to be aware of what's on, what's not. For me, he had the time and space to get his head up, whip that ball in. It was quite solid defending there. The big, strong opponent there comes up, just brushes him off. It's got to be a little bit cuter, but that will come in time.
He is still down, Jeremy Monga. That's why the game is stopping. Referee waves the physio on. He looks okay, Monga, but he did just stay down, which is why Fiorentina stopped the game, actually, but I don't think this is going to be of any concern. More interested in wondering whether he should have got a free kick. Slightly curious end now, because I'm not sure Monga needs any treatment. This was the moment, Matt, looking to trick his way.
Could have put it in there, I believe, at that first touch, whip it in. Not that he had too much there to aim at in the middle, but you know, he's enticed the challenge there, and he's felt the consequences, unfortunately. He'll be okay, though.
And the early forward, Nelson's header away was commanding. Hits the back of Daka. Now Gudmundsson. 20 seconds left of the 2 minutes, but he might add on a little. And Fiorentina fancy a late goal, but Hermansen dives on it. Assured goalkeeping, commanding goalkeeping, and that might be enough for a 2-0 win. And there is the full-time whistle. A winning finish to pre-season. Marti Cifuentes' first game here at King Power Stadium ends with a very impressive performance and victory over Fiorentina. Much for the Spaniard to admire. And warm applause for the Foxes, who have set the tone for the championship opener this time next week. Tommaso Martinelli beaten twice in the first half by Jordan Ayew and Abdul Fatawu. Leicester might have added to it, but they played the game in control and in command. Full-time score in the sunshine. Leicester 2, Fiorentina 0. Matt Elliott, Marti Cifuentes will be extremely pleased, I'm sure, with what he saw.
Certainly will. I mean, they were very assured throughout, weren't they? But the energy of the performance subsided a touch in the second half. You expect that in these pre-season affairs. But the main focus will be on that first half performance. Fatawu in particular, Mavididi to a lesser degree, but he was very dangerous. And they looked a good outfit. Impressive throughout, sharp and precise with the passing. Multiple changes has an effect all round on the game, doesn't it? And the feel. But Leicester even then, real cruise control really. Fiorentina, in my view, more than slightly disappointing, but they'll have their reasons for that early in pre-season. But yeah, Cifuentes, excuse me, sorry, will be very pleased, I imagine. It wasn't perfect, there's always places to improve, but very good. As you say, very much set the tone for next weekend.
Fiorentina applauded off by their travelling fans. Mads Hermansen is just doing a lap at the moment to show his appreciation to the Leicester City fans. But all eyes now on Sheffield Wednesday in 7 days' time, when King Power Stadium will be a little fuller and the pressure really will be on. Marti Cifuentes just giving some words of advice to the youngsters he brought on at the end of the game. But you can see even now, Matt, you can see his enthusiasm, his love of football, and that feels like it's rubbing off on his squad. Yeah, it seems, again, without having the opportunity or the pleasure of meeting him, but, you hear him on interviews, he's very bright, enthusiastic, knowledgeable. Groundwork would have been put into this appointment. You can see that there's a reasoning behind it, and part of it will be, I believe, the style of play is similar to what Leicester have had success from not so long ago, but also his technical knowledge, I think, is there. It seems like he's got many attributes. This is early days, I know, but coming to a club like this, it's a big challenge for him. He seems spirited by it, infused by it. And that when you get that energy from your coach and his staff, as there seems to be, players pick up on that as well. They react. And, despite there being various issues, various elements of doubt around the club, etc., that performance today didn't reflect any negativity to me, and they'll be very pleased with themselves, and their manager will be pleased with them. And further evidence, if anybody needed it, of the quality of this Leicester City squad. Those who started, those who came on, Matt. The fight for the 11 to start against Sheffield Wednesday will go on in training. But Leicester look primed and ready for their latest assault on the championship.
Yeah, I would look at that and say, I don't see too many changes, if any, from that starting lineup. Possible contest between Winks and Skip. Ex-Tottenham teammates, good friends, I'm sure, battling for that position. I think Sumari plays. And the others today, with the personnel available, Herrera excluded, I think the team will be pretty much near what we saw this afternoon from the off.
Well, Leicester City, very impressive. Full time, they have beaten Fiorentina by 2-0, and shortly you will hear from Frank Sinclair, Jerry Taggart and Dan Bates, but from me, Chris Parrott and Matt Elliott, it is a very good afternoon.
Declares Leicester City champions. There's a few banners actually in the players. To signal that Leicester are straight back up to the Premier League.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, there we go. If that's not got you excited for the start of the new season, then I don't know what will. A fantastic victory for Leicester in their final pre-season game of the summer. All leading up, of course, to that game against Sheffield Wednesday in a week's time. It is a 4:30 kickoff. You can join us as ever on Fox's Hub, where you won't miss a minute all season of action. There are early bird packages available with international seasonal video and seasonal listen live passes as well on offer for you. So any more information that you need on that, all you need to do is head onto the website or onto Fox's Hub as well. But yes, live here from pitchside at King Power Stadium. Supporters steadily filtering out now as we speak, having seen their side beat Serie A side Fiorentina quite convincingly, quite comfortably here at King Power Stadium, as we are a week away, of course, from that first competitive game of the season. I'm Dan Bates, Frank Sinclair and Jerry Taggart are with me pitchside here at the desk. We are due to speak to Marti Cifuentes and one of the Leicester players as well during this post-match analysis, so do not go anywhere. We'll also take a look back at the goals as well. We've just seen Marti himself having photos, guys, with a number of the supporters just behind the dugout there. Those supporters, not least for getting photos with Marti Cifuentes and speaking to him, will be going home happy regardless, won't they, with what they've seen today, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, you talk about the performance as a whole, forget about the result, because at the end of the day it is pre-season, and obviously the result is the icing on the cake. But for me, it was all about performance, all about the setup, all about how you're going to attack, how you're going to get at a team like Fiorentina. And I think, you know, today's performance has answered a few questions, and obviously lovely little touch at the end there. The players doing a lap of appreciation. And also you say the manager himself taking time out, have photographs and sign some autographs as well.
Yeah, how pleased do you think the fans will be? How pleased do you think Marti Cifuentes will be with what he's seen today?
Yeah, I think it would have been a great exercise for him because Fiorentina put out a good side, but probably not their strongest side in the first half, which allowed us to have a lot of possession and dominate the football, which obviously that helps with ironing out little patterns of play, you know, objectives when we're in possession, who's going to run in behind and break the line of the defensive wall and all those sort of things. So they had a lot of opportunity to do that in this, especially in the first half, I'd say. And yeah, there was an aggressive press that you could identify, and obviously that led to one of the goals. So again, the manager looks at it and says, this is what we get when we play my way, when we press high. If we win the ball in their defensive third, we're going to get opportunities to score goals, and you know that shows with the first goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it also does is when that high press works and everybody's on the same page, it stops the opposition from playing through the thirds. It keeps them facing their own goal on the back foot and going back towards their own goal. So then the opposition then have to work even harder. Now, there was instances where it didn't quite come off, but...
And this is one of those instances where it did come off.
Perfect example. You know, the fullback's facing his own goal. He tries to turn him, takes it off him. El Khanous does unbelievably well here with that sliding challenge. And yes, there's a bit of luck involved, but we've already spoken about that. If you look at Jordan Ayew, he just carries his run on into the box.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a bit of luck, but he's there. He's in the right place to tap that in.
Yeah. And El Khanous, like you said there, El Khanous could have give that up really because the ball was a little bit heavy and it favoured the defender, and obviously it's not great defending because you can't lose 50-50s like that in your own defensive box. But you know, obviously Jordan Ayew's the one that benefits from that, and it's a good finish as well because he hasn't got a lot of time, so he has to get a good contact,
thigh height,
and direct it, with quite an awkward ball into him. But you know, that'd be his bread and butter, so he'd be really pleased with that.
Yeah, is that the definition of a striker's finish? That from Jordan Ayew, just being in the right place at the right time.
You talk any decent striker worth of salt, they'll always tell you you've got to make sure you're in the danger zone, the business end of the pitch, and that is anywhere really inside the 6-yard box to the penalty spot where you are going to get the majority of your goals. And today, yes, he gets a little bit lucky, as we said, but he's in that area. He's in that area where if a ball drops, bang. We played with a guy called Tony Cotty. He was phenomenal at it, picking up bits inside the box.
Jamie Vardy,
yeah. And that is the main area where you get your goals. And today showed that from excellent work from two other players. Jordan Ayew benefits with a simple tap in, but that's all about the team, Dan. That's not about one individual scoring the goal. It's the work rate and the desire for El Khanous to win that challenge that makes that happen.
Well, if the first goal was all about the team, the second goal is all about an individual, isn't it? And Abdul Fatawu, Frank, is quite brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was, you know, Jerry touched on his ability before the game, and you know, he demonstrates that with this goal. Nice and direct, he just plays the ball into the space. The defender runs away from him, and the defender looks like he wants to pull him back, but I'm not sure if it's the same defender that got yellow carded for pulling him back earlier on in the game. But yeah, he squares up the defender there. Look, he goes away from him, thinks about pulling at him, can't get to him because he's so quick, and then he slows himself down nicely in the box now, looks for option, no options. I'm not sure about that touch, whether he meant it. It looked like he almost steps on the ball. I'm not sure if he means it. If he does mean it, what a touch inside that is, because it left it perfect for him to just hit it first time. And obviously he uses the defender so that the goalkeeper's blinded, and he bends it in the inside netting, and yeah, it's a great finish.
And again, it's simple football. It's a simple pass from Hamza Chowdhury to give it to him. And we were saying, just give it to him. Give it to your wide players. Let them isolate the full-backs 1v1. And if you can get turned and face your full-back up, there should be one thing in your mind, and that is get at the full-back. And that was a perfect example. Even though he had two defenders, it didn't really matter for Abdul. He was just so quick to get past him. And then the composure. as Frank's mentioned. That was all about the composure and the finish at the end.
Because I guess whether or not he meant that touch, that obviously set it up perfectly for him, he's not then panicked, has he? He's not then... He's clearly looked up, he's thought, are there options? No, the best option for me is to use my strong foot and just wrap around it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, he'll know whether he meant it or not. Not many others will. But it was a strange type of touch because it was almost back on himself. So it wasn't like a deliberate cutback. It was almost like he used his heel to spin it backwards. But if he meant that, that's unbelievable skill, by the way, and technique. And then obviously it sits fine for him to bend it in the corner, like we said. But
it set it up perfectly, as Frank's mentioned. He uses the centre half then as a mannequin, a shield, so the keeper can't see the bottom corner. He can't see what Fatawi's going to go. And obviously Fatawi can see that bottom corner. And does he drill it in there?
Quality
with
finish.
Aplomb.
Great finish. Yeah, we're still hoping to hear from Martí Cifuentes, and one of the Leicester players that took part in the game today. In the meantime, we can look at a chance in that second half. It was a double save, if you like, from the goalkeeper, Casey McAteer, originally with the first attempt, Jerry, after some good football again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a great ball here in the fine Casey McAteer. And that's a decent strike. Again, if there's the tiniest slight criticism I have about Casey's finish, he just delays it. He doesn't compose himself at that minute. But the build-up play, look at this from
winning it high up again.
High up again on the halfway line. Lovely ball from El Khanous. And can he find that bottom left-hand corner? So right-hand corner as we look at it, but obviously Casey's left-hand corner. And again here, an absolute bullet from El Khanous. Tight angle, in fairness. Keeper does well. But again, good attacking football and the right result.
The right result, indeed. Well, we have got Steffi Mavididi who's going to join us. Steffi, if you just come round here for us, please.
How are you, mate?
How you doing? Yeah, you good?
Yeah. How are you, mate? Yep, joining us live on Pre-Season Live. Steffi, how did you see that? The final run out now ahead of the Championship season. It's finished in a very convincing 2-0 victory.
Yeah, I mean, we felt comfortable going into the game. Obviously, it was a good performance from everyone, and obviously good to get minutes in the legs. Manager's ideas are clear, so we're ready to attack the season.
Yeah, do you feel like with each game you have now under Marty that you're starting to really click as a group?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we do most of our work on the training pitch every day, so yeah, we can see his ideas, and obviously the lads are trying to adapt to it. So far, so good. You know, we've got some good pre-season games under our belt now, and we're ready just to start the season.
Steffi, on a personal note, how you find the way the new manager wants to play, and how's your fitness going into the new season? Do you feel like you're ready to attack the season coming forward?
Yeah, to be honest, pre-season's boring, to be honest. We just want to get the season
underway.
Started straight away. Obviously, in terms of the manager's playing ideas, it's similar to what I've played under before. So, yeah, he's got good ideas, and you know, I think we can have a lot of fun this season.
Good.
Yeah, I think one thing that we've heard from Marty a lot is that no matter what the scoreline, and even we saw it today, you were going for that third goal, the fourth goal, whatever it might be. He says no matter what the scoreline, he wants his teams to attack. So presumably for you as an attacking player, that must be music to your ears.
Yeah, 100%. We've got to get that ruthless mentality into us. As you know, we're coming into a ruthless league, so you know we've got to get that engraved in us. And yeah, hopefully it will stead us good in the championship.
Steffi, have you set yourself any personal, I know obviously as a team you'll have your objectives and wanting to try and get back straight in the Premier League, but have you set yourself any individual targets as in goal contributions, etc.?
No, I don't really like to set myself individual targets, but obviously the target is clear for everyone, and that's what we want to achieve. So.
Which is to get straight promoted back.
Straight back up.
Yeah.
Straight back up. Right, Steffi, final question for you. Thank you for your time. Obviously, a week to go now. How much hunger, how much desire is there in the group? I guess you just want to be here again now in a week's time, don't you, against Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, 100%. We've got our last week now coming into the season, so it's going to be an important week for us. You know, we just got to get our head down, work hard this week, and hopefully pick up the 3 points on Sunday.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Steffi.
Cheers.
Well played today. Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.
Nice one. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Well done, Steph.
That was Steffi Mavididi there speaking to us live here on Pre-Season Live. Leicester's final pre-season game of the summer. Jerry, obviously we saw from a personal note from Steffi, there was a couple of times, particularly in that first half, where he was so bright, wasn't he? Yeah. So quick, the way he turns, particularly in the penalty area. The amount of penalties you think he's likely to win just because of how quick his feet are.
I think, you know, we've seen the first half of the first 16 minutes, and then we've seen Casey McAteer and Jeremy Munga come on, and there's so much competition for those two wide areas. And you'd have to say at the moment, it looks like Abdul and Steffi have the two slots if you're going on what we've seen today. And that's a great place for Leicester to start. And listen to what you said about the manager wanting to play attacking football. He's going to be integral as well as Abdul. So it's vitally important that the two wide players, because they've got pace, they've got power, they're direct. You know, they're going to play a massive part if this is going to be a successful season for Leicester City. And he's integral to that.
Yeah, so, you know, from previous seasons that you think about the way that Marty's played with QPR, for example, he likes dribblers in his side. He likes attacking wide men and people that can travel with the ball and people that can, you know, go at players in the final third as well. He likes dribblers. It's a dying art because of the patterns of play in the game and stuff like that. Everyone wants you to play and move the ball really quickly and not take too many touches, obviously in the wrong places, but it's a dying art. The dribble is in the game, and, you know, there's two brilliant ones that start the game either side for Leicester, and they'll be a threat all season.
Yeah, and presumably, and I said to Steffi there, you know, he must love the sound of that, you know, and the fact that QPR played the way that they played, the fact that he's got that history of getting the ball wide, saying to the attacking players, go on, do something.
I think it's
entertain
important.
These supporters as well.
You listen to Steffi Mavididi talk, he's quiet, he's unassuming, you know, but he comes to life on a football pitch. So, you know, maybe he might be one of these players that just needs a little helping hand from the coaches, from the manager, to get him into, you know, that top gear. And hearing those, you know, that positive feedback to say, get the ball to Steffi. Steffi, when you get the ball, go 1v1, isolate the fullback, 1v1. Don't think about anything else. If he's there to be taken on, go and take him on. And that just gives you as an individual a major boost of confidence. It really, really does.
Well, you as a fullback then, hearing that, you probably didn't want your opposite number and your winger in that sense to do that. You'd think you would rather they turned and went back.
Yeah, 100%. That's the last thing you want as a fullback. And, you know, I played with some great wingers throughout my career at Leicester and other clubs as well. And every time I got the ball as a fullback, the first thing I was looking to do was give the ball to my wide man and let him cause problems to the fullback, because you don't want to be isolated in 1v1 situations, which we saw, you know, there was a demonstration of a little bit of that today from both flanks as well, which is really exciting for the side because it keeps people pinned back on their back foot.
Yeah, there was another chance in that second half that, well, it ended eventually for Casey McAteer. It was a good ball from Harry Winks, Jerry, wasn't it, for Patson Daka, and I guess they almost got in each other's way a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's an unbelievable pass for me, straight into the path here of Patson Daka, and it's just his first touch.
How good is that on his left foot as well from Harry Winks?
Superb, and as a striker, and you're running onto that ball, I mean, that is pennies from heaven for a centre forward. He's running on the ball, he's got the space to take a touch and then unleash. And it's just unfortunate here for Patson that he doesn't quite get it right. It then runs into the path, as we say, of Casey, but they sort of get entangled. And that's probably a time, in Patson's defence, he's probably trying to make up for that first touch, and he's saying, can I get on the end of it? Can I get a shot off?
Yeah, it finishes like a train crash, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. There's bodies all over the place. But, I mean, the build-up play. And so, again, they'll learn from that. A little bit of rustiness maybe coming in.
But that's pre-season, I guess.
Pre-season, exactly. That's why you play these games.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Marty Cifuentes. Hopefully we'll get him shortly. But I guess even in that, and they're the sort of moments that encapsulate pre-season a little bit, don't they? That probably Patson's touch is either a little bit better. If it still falls to Casey, then in that stage, Casey will come in screaming for it maybe. And then
running on there.
Yeah.
Right footer in the bottom corner, thank you very much. Or Patson unleashes with his left foot. It's as simple as that. It's that first touch. You talk about small margins in football. That was one of them. You know, 1 ounce of weight on his left foot, that's a perfect touch. It's out in front of him, and then a second touch is a finish. And it's just
like you say, that's what this pre-season games are all about. You get fitter, you get stronger, your touch gets tighter, and everything comes together. And you want to aim to hit the ground running first game of the season. And you know, obviously with a week to go, there'll be a lot of work done on the training field just to, you know, the final tuning on all the aspects of how the team's going to play and approach the season.
Yeah, how excited do you think these supporters that were here today, how excited should they be now, Jerry, ahead of a week today?
Yeah, I think, you know, they've come here today. I don't know how many, around about 10,000 or so.
Over that, I think it was more
13,000,
yeah.
which is a good turnout. And, you know, they'll be pleased with what they're seeing. You know, when you go abroad and you're in camp and the training's intense, it's double sessions, you're in the gym doing all your muscle work and what have you, and then you're going and playing games, it can be a little bit difficult to say exactly what you want to say as a fan watching on the TV, or as someone like myself or Frank who's you know, talking about the game and picking the game apart. Obviously, coming back from there, slowly winding down the training, the double sessions, the intensity of it. I'm thinking more about what's going to happen on a football pitch for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And today we've seen a really good performance and a really good look at what the manager's wanting to try and implement here.
And I think as well, the fans have suffered last season, lost a lot of games of football.
Here?
So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about
As
here
well.
at this stadium as well. So, you know, that can depress you, you know, and it's, you know, it hurts going away from the ground every week, getting beat, you know, in the Premier League, getting punished for small mistakes that you might not get punished in the Championship for. But so the fans will be excited about the fact that, you know, there's not many people gone out the door. Okay, we haven't seen a load of signings yet or anybody come through the door so much apart from Begovic. But what they will be saying is, look how strong that squad is. That I'm sure that squad can get us back to the Premier League, and if we can get some additions, a couple of players in before the window closes to help that group go on again, kick on again, then brilliant. But if I'm a Leicester supporter, I'm going into the season thinking we're going to win more games than a lot more games than last season.
We've got some talent here.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got some talent. We can cause some problems for a lot of teams. Well, I would say most teams in the Championship.
Well, a top-end Serie A team, even when they made all the changes and brought on their first team, if you like, Leicester were comfortably the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm being slightly conservative because you never know what. This is my outlook moving into next week and beyond. Then Leicester definitely have the firepower to, you know, cause major problems for teams, especially coming here to King Power. And you've seen some of that today.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen some fantastic football, you've seen some fantastic infrastructure as in the shape of the team, the centre halves pushing up when the centre forwards drop deep into that pocket. You see the centre halves coming in, not backing off like we've seen a lot last season. They're coming in, they're getting tight. So they're trying to be tight all over the pitch, forcing the opposition back towards your own goal. That can only be good news.
Obviously, Jerry, as you said, teams coming to King Power Stadium. That's exactly what Sheffield Wednesday do in a week's time. That is a 4:30 kickoff. As ever, you can follow all of the action with us on Fox's Hub throughout this season. There are a number of passes available for you, so do join us for that game. Matchday Live a week today. It is a 4:30 kickoff, so we'll be, well, roughly at half-time this time next week. Hopefully Leicester can play like they did today. That'll be good. There are a number of passes available for you, whether that's for international viewers or listeners here. Listen Live passes available for the season, as well as game passes available for the season as well. For any more information, all you need to do is head on to Fox's Hub or onto the website as well to get all the info on what you need and what is available to you. But basically every single kick is available to you on Fox's Hub this season, whether that's commentary or the games themselves, and we'll of course have all the build up to every single game as we do throughout the season. I guess it's difficult really to preview that game in a week's time, just because of Sheffield Wednesday and the question marks. Obviously we know that's going on with them off the field, but so in terms of even on the pitch, it's difficult to know who and where the matchups might be, I guess. So in this week then, is it a case of Leicester just preparing as they would for a game like this? They probably didn't do too much opposition analysis, I would assume, against Fiorentina.
No, I think the coaching staff will go full head on in to analysing what Sheffield Wednesday have, whether it's there or not next week. They don't. The squad, the manager doesn't know that. The coaches don't know that. The players don't know what's going on at the minute with Sheffield Wednesday. But they can't afford to leave, you know, any stone unturned. So they have to do their due diligence as if you know, a full Sheffield Wednesday squad are going to turn up next week and go to war.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. You know, obviously, I know they cancelled the game against Burnley over the weekend. Something to do with the players not agreeing to play in it. I don't know the ins and outs of it. That's what I heard was the reason behind it. So it's obviously been difficult to get eyes on them, you know, over the pre-season period. But like Jerry says, you have to, you prepare your team. That's what you got to worry about. You got to get your team finely tuned and ready for 3 o'clock on well, is it 4:30 on Sunday? 4:30 on Sunday. You have to know that, regardless of what Sheffield Wednesday team comes, you know, even if they have to play the kids, if they're playing the kids, you've got to prepare for the best Sheffield Wednesday that you can get your research done on regarding, you know, their tactics and the personnel that they have, and worry about yourselves. And if a team like that Leicester have put out today, you put that sort of team out and they play to the best of their capabilities, I think they blow Sheffield Wednesday away. And, you know, the players will be up for it. You know, me and Jerry have both been there where we've been relegated from the Premier League, and you know you've disappointed everybody, so you can't wait to put that right. So they must be chomping at the bit for next week to, you know, to get going again and get the club back up again.
Yeah, well, we are imminently going to be joined by the Leicester City manager, Martí Cifuentes, which will be great to hear from him. Presumably, Jerry, as well, the first time you'll have properly had the chance to speak to Martí. So, Martí, if you'd like to come and join us, please. Jerry Taggart, Frank Sinclair.
How are you? You all right?
Hello, Martí. Yeah.
There you go.
Good to see you again, Martí. How did you see that then? The final pre-season run out, obviously, of the summer has ended very successfully on the pitch. I'm sure you're a happier man than when we spoke after the Cologne game just over a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm proud and I feel happy about the performance. I felt that it was a quite complete performance according how many weeks we start to work with the group, and there is a lot of positives to build on and to take for the next weeks. Obviously, still things to improve, and definitely we want to improve. But in the overall, happy because I saw a team with certain identity, a clear way of playing, and I'm happy for that.
Marty, I was just going to ask about the identity of the team and what I've seen today with the high pressing, the centre halves going in tight, with the centre forwards when they were dropping into the pockets. How long has that taken you to get that message across, and how well do you think the players, you know, have followed those messages you've been giving them?
You know, credit to them, because it's always easy when you got very good players, and I think that they are picking the ideas pretty quick. As I said, it will be always certain things that we want to improve, and we can improve. But in the overall, the main idea about trying to be a team that wants to have the ball to attack, that wants to be a brave team, that wants to press high, that wants to have the ball not only to keep it but to attack, to create chances, I think it was there. Yeah. And I'm so happy because the application of the guys has been excellent.
The first goal was a perfect example of winning the ball high up the pitch and going on and converting that. Yeah, so it was like a training ground. That was perfection from the training ground, basically. Yeah.
Well, exactly. I will say that the guys, the application since day one when we arrived here and then when we went to Austria has been excellent. Obviously, in this process will be up and downs. So today we are very happy, but you know how championship is. It's a beast. It's a difficult league, and it's not going to be perfect. But as long as I see this commitment, this desire to be the team that we want to be, this fearless style, then I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, Marty, I'm a coach at Burnley. So Sheffield Wednesday cancelled a game against Burnley on Saturday. They was playing 2 games on the same day. So I was just interested in how was your approach to the Sheffield Wednesday game? Have you been able to see them play and know about their team, or have you just focused purely on your side and what you want to do next Sunday?
Yeah, obviously we had always that game in the back of our minds, but the idea was to make sure that we had a good precision, and then from next week we start to focus on Sheffield Wednesday. We are aware about their situation. We know them from the last 2 seasons when we met them several times, but obviously we don't know exactly what can we expect. I don't speculate so much about that. I think that always I have full respect for all the teams, for all the clubs, especially a club with the history of Sheffield Wednesday. Let's see what we gonna face next Sunday. But the focus will be always in ourselves and our way we want to play.
Final point from us then, Marty. Obviously, it was your first time today in front of the Leicester City supporters here at King Power Stadium. Touchwood, obviously, we'll be here again in a week's time. How excited are you for that? And just a word for the supporters today.
yeah, first of all, so happy to be here, so happy to feel this as my home, and I felt very good with the players, and we were talking actually before the game that we need to make sure that this is a fortress, and I'm sure that together with our fans that I'm so happy and so pleased that they came here. Hopefully we can build a very successful season, so looking forward to it, and appreciation from my side for the support.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Marty. Brilliant. Best of luck next week.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Nice one.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That was Marty Cifuentes there, of course, the Leicester City manager, speaking after his first game in charge here at King Power Stadium in front of his supporters. A week to go then until the big kick-off against Sheffield Wednesday. Final point from the both of you, nice and quickly, just on that. A word on the manager again, as I said, Jerry, it's always great to hear from him, and he's quite an infectious character, and presumably the lads will be buzzing to get going now in a week's time.
It's good, and you hear what Steffi Malvedere had to say about him as well, and the mindset that he's trying to, instill in the players, which is, when we heard Andy King talk about it a couple of weeks ago, just before he came in. So everybody at the minute is on the same page, but it's when things go wrong, can he keep that positive mental outlook and keep thinking about, let's be brave, let's be positive. But certainly from the manager himself, he seems a bubbly character and speaking positive thoughts and positive messages to everyone involved, which can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's real positives, in all the messages that that Marty's sending out to the supporters, to his own players, to his staff, and I witnessed Burnley really go at the Championship last season, really aggressively, a similar type of way, playing style, pressing in a 4-2-4 and going after teams, winning the ball high and scoring. They didn't score loads of goals, but they didn't concede many because they was always playing in the opposition's half. And I think Leicester can do the same next season and will be one of the favourites to do that.
Hopefully so. Big thank you to Jerry Taggart and to Frank Sinclair for their company with us this afternoon, as pre-season for Leicester City comes to a close this afternoon, and it's come to close with a bit of a bang as well. A 2-0 victory over Serie A side Fiorentina, and a very convincing one at that. Thank you to everybody who has watched not just this game but throughout pre-season. We'll be back, of course, for the start of the Championship season in a week's time against Sheffield Wednesday. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Goodbye.